Hello and welcome to Everyday Eternal number 129, your favorite, most deceptively named bi-weekly legacy podcast. Today's show is brought to you by Matt Dunnigan, Andrew Whitman, Francis, and Kylie Waters. If you want to support the running of the show directly, you can support us on patreon.com/everydayeternal. First order of tonight, guys, how has your week been? How has your month been? What have you been up to? Kai, let's start with you.
Damn, yeah, it's been a while. I had an exciting past week, because for the first time in my life, I had my own booth at the Gamescom in Cologne in Germany. So I think, which is like the biggest gaming convention in all of Europe, if not worldwide. It was a crazy week. It's basically just like, I had my booth at the artist area, altering cards on the fly. I made an artwork for this event, and also printed some tokens, which we gave away to people. I was also powered by a new startup from Berlin, which is called TCG Vault, and we made like this little like lottery, or like a giveaway for Dominaria United. And it was just like really, really cool to hang out and like to talk to a lot of people who were not necessarily from the trading card game world, like gamers in general. So it was pretty sick. Lots of people.
So did you also get a lot of people who have never played Magic before but knew about the game?
Yeah, like so many of them. But like the best were like probably like those kids, like like a bunch of like 10-year-old kids. Like they come to the booth and I'm like, hey, so you guys do you guys play Magic? Yeah, of course, man. And like they come close and they're like, oh, whoa, what's that? It's like, okay, well, you have never played the game then.
This is like high slipping drugs. Like, kids, have you heard of this Doomsday stuff?
First one's free. First stack is free.
Your first 5 cards are free. And
right, yeah, just like don't even mention Magic. Just go like Doomsday immediately. Like, do you know those like secret piles? Like with double Thassa's Oracle.
Hey, have you ever lost half your life?
I know this Oracle.
If you lost half your life, holy moly! Oh gosh, it was good though, and I was really surprised how many people still have cards at home. Like they don't even know how much those cards are worth, but a lot of people still have Magic cards like in their, I don't know, in the basement or like in like some shoe boxes here and there. And it's like, it's absolutely crazy to me.
It is easy to forget how big this game is for our like legacy kind of niche. That's like, it is a household name, and people, like, so many people have played it, and as you said, just have like boxes at home.
Yeah, totally, right? And like you showed them a couple of cards, like, I don't know, if you showed them a few dual lands, for example, we told them, hey, like, do you remember these cards, because they are super expensive? And like the one guy, he went like, yeah, like the half mountain, half island, I think I have like a bunch of them at home. It's like, yeah,
but well, it sucks because this gets destroyed by effects that destroy mountains and islands. That says so on the card.
Right? Yeah, by tsunami and whatever destroys mono mountains. But yeah, but it was a pretty exhausting week, of course, but it was also a lot of fun. There were a bunch of artists there, mostly from like the manga, anime part of things, but it was sick, really. Only recommend.
Your art style does have like a crossover there as well, so I bet there's a lot of people interested in just your stuff. Like the art you made for it, that fish is incredible, I gotta say.
Thank you.
If you have some tokens left, I'd love to get some.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, it's like, dude, like, a lot of people who go to the Gamescom didn't really go there necessarily because of the games, but just because they kind of wanted to hang out. And like it was like same for me. I was literally just hanging out,
Did you have time to like walk around and see a couple of other booths, or were you at your one?
Yeah, about like 20 minutes per day. Really. Okay. Like, I mean, like, time schedule was super like.
So you didn't get to play tight. Street Fighter 6?
I did not. I saw it though, but like, you gotta like imagine that like they're like, I think like about 8 halls, and they're so gigantic. Like
and all for Street Fighter. Wow.
Of course, Street Fighter only. Show some love, but
Street Fighter Town over here, and then we have a 9th hall for everybody else.
Right. But
cool.
Yeah, that was Gamescom.
Awesome. Callum, what have you been up to? Have you also been to Gamescom ever before?
No, I'm like, yeah, I was like, this is your domain. I've never been to like a big kind of Gamescom. I haven't really played video games, so I don't know the kind of Street Fighter world and stuff. And no,
Get out of here, kids, with like your Street Fighters and Mario Karts.
And your Donkey Kongs. I don't know if anyone likes that shit. No, so I haven't. But I stayed inside all weekend like a proper nerd, like not going out and talking to people and stuff. I don't know. We had like work has been insanely busy the last 2 weeks, and I had nothing on, and I was like, this is perfect. It's a bank holiday weekend, so I was off work today as well, and I was just like, I'm gonna stay in, and it was really nice. I actually had a ticket for a gig on Saturday that I just completely forgot was on and didn't go.
Ooh.
And then there was a gig last night which I forgot to go as well. So real hermit vibes going on. But I played both the challenges and did really well on the Saturday one. I played Painter in both, and those
Tell
are
us.
Yeah.
Did you win a match or two?
Well, Sunday, no. I'll start off with the bad bit. Sunday, I went 3-4 and like had some very close losses, and
I heard you lost to Cheskai like twice.
Yes. So
isn't that like so bad?
Well, the thing is, so Painter is incredibly good against Just Guy Control, and before this, I'd lost like one match against Control decks, and does.
Sorry to interrupt you. You're not even like talking shit. You actually kept track, right, of your last 200 matches.
Yes, I've got a spreadsheet where I've been keeping track, and literally against Control, I was like 20 something in one. This is like Just Guy Control, full color control, like.
I mean, I can imagine, right? Without like the I win button of something like Entreat the Angels, that you eventually just grind them out most of the time.
Yeah. So I found out why I lost these two matches yesterday. The list got published today, and both of them had 3 mentors, and I lost both to mentor. The first loss was like a big punt on my part. As soon as when you like do something, you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. And while you're tapping the things, you're like, yeah, I know this is wrong, and I did something stupid, and I got massively punished for it. So I lost that fair and square. And then the second one was against Kihara Works, who is I've forgotten the name.
Kihara Atsuki. Yeah,
he's
like I think he's like the guy who has like the most GP finalist title. He has I think like he went like second in a GP like I think like 3 or 4 or 5 times.
Oof,
That's crazy.
Never took it down.
One of them in a Legacy Grand Prix was in Chiba 2016 with Just Kind of Miracles against Sneak and Show.
That's the one. I remember that. Yeah. So I knew him, and I knew it's going to be an incredibly tough match, and it was insanely close. Like came down to the wire, but I think I must have made some mistakes there. But yeah, the difference was up until this, like I hadn't been facing that many mentors. It's just like all planeswalkers and stuff, and they're easy because this current build of Painter just like poops out loads of creatures here, there, everywhere, and stuff. And the planeswalkers are just not that effective. Like Narset's kind of okay against some parts of Fable, Teferi's like whatever, and you have Furies to just chip them down. So it's always been really easy, but 3 mentor, that's what did me in both times. So
what about Cheetah?
Yeah, fair beats. I do have like 4 Furies and 3 Bolts in the deck, so you can kill them sometimes, but like they're starting to play Hydroblast as well, so if they can like get to a state where they go mentor something.
You'll probably see more Hydroblast in the format these days.
Yeah, I think
so many good red cards. Hydroblast also counters Minsk and Boo, which is one of the most dominating cards of whatever hits the board.
And Maddening Hex.
Yeah.
But to interrupt you there, have you seen that sweet Japanese tech against Maddening Hex in Ad Nauseam Storm?
I've seen it. Yeah, I saw like I saw it the other day, dude. What a poopy tech! Holy moly!
Glacial Chasm. Yeah, you just like you get one Glacial Chasm down. It counters all of the Maddening Hexes your opponents might even have. It's cool. Insane.
And so this is the build that plays like a Titularian West, I think is it?
Oh, does it?
I think so.
I mean, it would make sense. Can also get LED, I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess. It's cool.
Have you ever spent like 3 mana to get an LED? Holy shit!
I mean, people play. What's it called? Not just Demonic Tutor, the one that costs 5,000 euros or something.
Wait, what?
Grim Tutor.
Grim Tutor. Yeah. I mean, people sometimes play that.
You mean Martin Bonasek?
Yeah, that's basically him. I remember when he wanted to play the Deathrite Shaman in ANT.
He did. He crushed it.
Yeah, but then they banned it.
Yeah,
so you never really got to showcase it properly.
Definitely because of him.
But yeah, so much for Sunday. I hear you did slightly better on Saturday, right?
Yes, Saturday was great. I won the challenge and I got a nice 9-0 sweep. So won every single match. So lucky indeed.
So lucky.
Oh, just the luckiest. It makes it all like a bit nice when you sweep it. And even in the last round, when me and my opponent were the only 5-0s, they said, "Do you want to draw?" I said, "Sure." Like, because there's no play draw on Magic Online, it doesn't matter who won there. We were both locked. So I said, "Sure," but I have like quite a high construction rating on Magic Online, so I was like, "This is dumb, but I don't want to concede."
Yeah, so I like it.
So I said, "You can concede or we can play. I don't mind." And then he said, "Cool, let's play." And I was like, "Awesome." So I'm really glad we did now because I get to actually brag about the 9-0 rather than the 8-0 and a draw. But we did actually play. I did actually win. So yeah, it was awesome. Like, this is a build I've been kind of like the painted Discord, we have like a kind of mono red X area, and we've been like making changes here and there, and like 2 or so weeks ago I said I'm going to try without Khans, and so since then I've been playing without Khans, and I personally think it's one of the best changes to the deck in a long time. We went to 4 Fables because that card is incredible. I'm now browsing through like options to find ways to draw Fable more. Basically, I would play 8 of that card in this deck if I could. So Fable is the reason this deck is feeling so good, in my opinion. And yeah, cut the Khans, cut Ensnaring Bridge. I've kind of ranted about how I don't like Ensnaring Bridge a few times, and this deck is just humming. It's like, it's got a low curve, but it's got tons of mana sinks and tons of things to do with your mana, like a lot of the time. The Fable just really does everything. It's just incredible. And so I feel like you win with the combo like just over half the time, but you win with beats like a lot of the time as well. So it's one of these kind of combo control decks that's incredibly hard to play versus as well. It's hard
you can even play aggro, right? Sometimes when you get those Uta Saga draws.
Yep, totally. Like, I mean, the kind of draws it has is like, sometimes it plays a turn 1 Fable into like a turn 2 Fable. Sometimes it has just like turn 1 Painter with a blast up or whatever against combo. Sometimes you go like Ancient Tomb Painter, Ancient Tomb Grindstone, kill them. Sometimes you go like turn 1 Saga, turn 2 Soul Land. Sometimes you just have like a Goblin's draw, like turn 1 Welder, turn 2 Engineer, and like
it's basically 4 decks in a single deck. This is insane.
It just does a ton of things. It has a ton of play to it. It can be tricky. Like I'm still messing up a lot. It's like part of the difficulty of it is like knowing your role in the matchups and stuff, and that is because it's a deck that doesn't play cantrips. You don't get to decide your role a lot of the time. Sometimes you make the decisions based on like the half of your deck you've drawn or what more powerful parts of that you've drawn and stuff.
Right.
But it really feels like it has game against everything. I've been keeping.
I mean, that's the beauty of always having some archetype, and then there's a combo in there that will always give you game against almost anything, right?
Yeah.
Because you always have the combo out, even if like something doesn't work out. There's always like this 1-2 punch, like you mentioned, turn 1, turn 2.
Exactly. I was talking to Max Gilmore, who's Max Distortion, last night. We were playing a couple of matches on Discord, and he said this deck is like what he's been trying to build with mid-range Doomsday, which is like it's a mid-range Esper deck, but against the bad matchups, you just combo them. He said this deck does it, but it just feels way more like it just flows way better. So
Oh, and by the way, since you're not mentioning it, I want to mention it. I think you're at almost 2,000 elo on Magic Online. Which
yeah,
is...
not anymore after Sunday.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I got to 1973, which is super. No, 76 even. So yeah, that's definitely my highest ever, 1976.
And what has been your win rate over those 200 matches that you tracked?
So I've got it open now. I've got 203 matches tracked. I'm at 75% win rate.
That's insane. Like we usually say, like in the long run, like the really good players, especially in Magic Online, they hit like 60 something in the long run. Like in the short run, yeah, everybody can like spike a couple of leagues. Yeah. But in the long run, people usually settle for. I think when Tom Hepp had this insane run with all the versions of Dark Depth, he was sitting at 60 something. And yeah, this is so you've been crushing like almost no deck before.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm like when I play a league and I 4-1, it's like, oh, it feels kind of average. I don't. I was about to foreshadow this. I was about to say this. I don't mean to sound cocky or anything, but the deck.
But you do. But you do.
Good.
But keep going. I like that.
The deck is feeling that good. It's I also will add these 200 matches is including like half of it's the Khan and Once Upon a Time version, and I think this current one is better. I added it up the other day. Oh, yesterday afternoon it was like 84% over about 70 games. 70 matches. So yeah.
84 over 70 matches.
Yeah.
On Magic Online.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. This is next. We can't wait for the next GP.
Yeah.
yeah. So, well, look, this deck it's hard to play against. People don't play against it that much. I am playing leagues which are a bit softer than challenges and bigger events. So these numbers are from 4 challenges now. 3 of them I've done really badly at. I've gone 4-3 or 3-4, and 1 of them I won. And the rest is leagues. So there's a pinch of salt to be taken here, definitely. But overall, it's really, really crushing. And I think it's one of the best decks I've ever played in Legacy.
You know what I like about the deck? Yesterday I put it on my wish list on Card Market. I included everything, including the versions I want. So basically all the old frame cards, original printing, which made it a little bit more expensive than it could be. I excluded the 2 City of Traders, and then I used their shopping wizards to basically give me the best deal. and it came down to 900 something euros. And that's for an insanely powerful legacy deck. And you mentioned like the two City of Traders, they're not critically essential. Like they're nice to have. I think they're like 200 something each. But if you can't play the cities because you don't have them, I think you recommended 2 other cards.
Yeah, so it is a nice and cheap deck. Painter's actually quite expensive, so they're part of the money, and then Sagas as well. But yeah, if you don't have City of Traitors, just play a Lotus Petal over the first one, and then I think like just play another mountain. But someone suggested Crystal Vein you could try. But
I was going to say Crystal Vein, maybe. I mean,
yeah.
Crystal Vein basically does the same, right?
Kind of.
But once.
Like, the thing is with City, that very often you just go like mountain, city, and then you just don't play another land. Like the deck operates off low lands pretty often, then you just keep it in play, which Crystal Vein doesn't do. Basic mountains are just really, really good in the deck. Like, you want to hit the basic mountains, you want to hit your land drops, you don't get wastelanded. You can play one Lotus Petal over a city, and then the first city is really good. Like when you draw one, it's a very, very strong card in the deck. So I would try and pick it up. The other nice thing, there's no Lions of Diamond. I've been off that card for months now in Painter. I don't think it's good in this version. It's good when the format's fast and you want to combo faster and stuff, or if you're using Khan and Snaring Bridges a lot. But this is not the format for that. This is the Delver format. This is the 3 blasts, 7 blasts, 3 bolts, 2 furies format.
7 blasts main deck.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to 8 if I can find a spot. Honestly, it's as long as Murktide stays legal. Yeah, people are playing like Murktide Shredders and EIs. Just kill.
I mean, that's the beauty of Fable of the Mirror Breaker, right? You get to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to find if there's any other kind of cards that incidentally loot as well for the deck, but Fable is on another level. The Kiki side as well, like copying Furies is just disgusting.
Even copying Engineers was quite good.
Copying Engineer, like you combo out of nowhere. Copying like Twin Shots and Brayer's Apprentices is really good as well. It's just like the deck plays like this. It just curves out. It plays creatures, and all of them are very scary. Like Welder and Engineer, when they get going, like they're bringing a Brayer's Apprentice in and out, or they're threatening to combo you like from turn 3 or turn 4. Or like with Twin Shot welding in and out against creature decks. All these things just like require an answer. So yeah, they do get answered. The whole job of goblins is like to get countered or killed, poor things. They are absolutely beautiful, I promise. And then they just make room for you to combo and your opponents will run out of removal, or they run out of removal by the time the Fable flips, or you have a Fury unchecked and stuff. And so you just threaten this beatdown plan, and you just threaten so many things with this deck. That's the thing. You can curve out really nicely, but you also have this very strong reactive control plan of like, if you are playing against combo and you have a Painter down, you're playing 7 like counterspell / vindicates. And especially with it has 3 Seeming Spirit Guides in the deck, you could like the fast mana from them and the surprise blasts, or paying for days with them is very strong. So you really morph into this. It is a combo control deck in a way, with a strong beatdown plan. It just plays all these different roles.
Plays all the cards.
It does all the things.
It just does everything. It's like one thing that really stood out to me was you played a full playset of Magus of the Moon in the sideboard. Now, usually like Magus of the Moon or like any Blood Moon effect, it kind of is like a no-go with Ursa Saga, I've heard, but maybe you want to tell me something about this? Magus
is incredible. People have always played Blood Moon and Painter and stuff, and so with the number of Saga, like people just started playing Sagas and cut this effect completely. And then for a very long time I had like 2 Blood Moon in the sideboard. I was like, there's some matchups where you just really want this effect, and because you have these soul lands and fast mana, like turn 1 Blood Moon effect is super strong still. And I used to side out some number of Sagas, but I was like, if you have a Magus down, if it's in a matchup where you want this effect, then it's probably going to win the game. I don't side it in against things like where it could be removed. I don't side it in against like the control decks that have a basic Plains and Source of Plowshares. The exception is like the 4-color decks. Yeah, you don't side it in against Lightning Bolts decks, basically, but you side it in against like Bug Piles. It's actually like a massive combo hoser. It's insane against Doomsday and Ant and these kind of things.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
It's someone messaged me saying I need help against Doomsday, and I said Magus is the best card in the whole deck.
Please stop. Holy shit.
Do you have some nightmares about when we played?
Dude, yeah, always. Yeah. I kind of like that you chose Magus of the Moon because that's because Boseiju, I suppose, right?
Yeah, so Magus is because we are an artifact-based deck. Like, there are artifacts in it, and people play artifact removal, and they bring in against you regardless, and it has tons of crossover with enchantment removal. So there's Force of Vigor, there's Boseiju, who endures, there's, like, Serenity, there's, it doesn't get hit by Meltdown, sure, but, like, there's just a ton of things that have splash damage there, and you 100% know these people are bringing these things in already. And the other thing is, a lot of the decks that like Magus is good against also have these things, because Blood Moon is good against them. So if you're playing against like Post or Ant or whatever, or Lands has Punching Fire, so it's a bit hit and there, but they still have more Force of Vigor kind of effects than Punching Fires in their deck. So Magus just gets hit by less. Like Interplay, Tony Murata plays 0 removal for Magus in his Post deck, which is probably right. Like people don't play Magus too much, maybe until now, but Magus just doesn't have that splash damage. And
Right.
I kind of went through every single like matchup where I want this effect, and it was just overwhelmingly in favor of Magus.
Right.
It's also like insane against Death Shadow when you play against it. There they can float mana and push it, but like push is not even that popular in the deck. It's usually snuff out. So they need to have the snuff out right there. Well, they can't snuff it out. They need to have 4 mana and float.
Right.
They got no swamps.
Yeah, I feel like the filthiest thing about this deck, about this like Urza Saga build, is that it looks really fragile to a Blood Moon, right? Because but then you swap them for your own Blood Moon. So like I think like no one really comes prepared in like game number 2 or 3, for Blood Moon effects, because like your deck again like plays Urza Saga.
Yeah,
so that's such a bold move. Holy man, yeah, it's crazy, really.
It kind of is and kind of isn't. Like again, it's just like well, if you have Magus in play, yeah, your Sagas are turned off, but the Magus usually it's very boring gameplay, but you usually play it and your opponent concedes like 10 turns later. Or 5 if you're attacking with other things. Like it very, very rarely gets removed. You do have to like slow play them in some matchups, like against Lands. I usually try and get a Painter plus Blast down first and stuff, but sometimes you're given a hand with a turn 1 Magus and you just like make them have the Punching Fire. And it does attack as well. Like, being a thing that attacks is super relevant.
Yeah, especially against combo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah, it's really good. And yeah, if you have a Saga in your hand when you play it, well, yeah, it probably doesn't matter. Is the whole gist of it.
Maybe all the listeners are really interested in like the like what is like the weak point of this deck? Like what, like is there like one deck that's really, really good against this deck specifically?
Yeah, so the worst matchups are decks with Emrakul in. Very specific. Sneak and Show is the absolute worst matchup, I think. You have Blast for Show and Tell, but you have very little interaction for Sneak Attack. There's a Pithing Needle in the sideboard, which obviously comes in, and you try and find it straight away. But Emrakul decks are a real nightmare. I played against Omnitel in the final of this challenge, and they got game 1 because I couldn't. So this is where Soul Guide Lantern is like the most important card. So rather than finding Painter and Grindstone, you need to find both of them and a Soul Guide Lantern. So with the Emrakul triggers on the stack, you can crack the Soul Guide Lantern and exiles their graveyard, so you still get to combo them. And I did manage to do that in game 2 and game 3, but like we had some counter battles, we had some back and forth. Game 3 ended with them with like 2 Omnisciences in play, but I had managed to like Mind Break Trap a cantrip the turn before, and like we had some weird back and forth. So it was a super tight game. But Sneak
You have to bring your best paint fu.
Yeah, Sneak Attack is just even faster. They have more fast mana. They have it's a real nightmare. Otherwise, I found the Blue Zenith deck actually quite hard. I think I've only played it 4 times that I've tracked, and I'm 1 and 3. It's 2 and 3 now. But that one's hard because they have a lot of varied hate. So usually fair matchups are good because Painter can grind through a lot, but they have a real end game of like Green Sun for Primeval Titan or whatever, or Omnath and stuff. So then they have Yorion to blink all their things on the thing, and so they kind of like they tax your blasts. So and then they have the high end to go over it, and then they have just randomly like a Plague Engineer for your Goblin Welders, and then a Knight of Autumn for your Urza Saga is always brutal. And then they have like an oof that always comes from the Greens and Zenith. And then they do play like Ending and Swords and stuff. So I find it when they have a mid-range or control deck has very varied pieces of interaction, that can be tough. Otherwise, I'm 3 and 4 in the mirror. Does that count? Yeah.
Everybody knows Painter's better against Painter, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if a lot of them actually have Karn, I guess that's like a trump card in the mirror.
Not so much with Fury.
Okay.
No. Fury is the
Fury is insane. Like, keeps hitting Planeswalkers, right?
Fury is the best card in the mirror, like hands down. Not even close. Just like it's the same way the Moonstompy matchup goes. Whoever draws more Furies usually wins, and it's the same for Painter. If you have Karn in the Painter mirror, like previously that was just like basically GG. But with 4 Furies now after sideboarding, especially with the Fable like copying it, you just completely destroy if you get that.
So Are you actually going to go over your matchups? I think you mentioned something that you might want to stream a review of the challenge you won.
Yeah, so I plan to do that. I don't know when. Probably this week. I'll find a time and try and announce it before I do it. But I will save it, and we're going to put it on your YouTube.
Yeah. We're going to link it on the podcast, in the Discord, on the Twitter, on my Twitter, on your Twitter, and everybody's. We're still trying to hack Barack Obama's Twitter. He will also tweet about it.
But yeah,
Finally.
Quick run through of matchups was round 1 was against Jeskai Delva. It's against a guy called Davey286, if I remember right. This is someone that plays quite weird versions of stuff. So they still have like the Delvers, the Murktides, the DRCs and stuff. But like the last list they had posted had like 2 Enlightened Tutors for random pieces of hate, energy flux and whatever. So they often play Stifle as well. You never know what's coming out of this player. So that was tough. It was some close games. Round 2 was versus D&T. Can you guess my record versus D&T with this?
I know your record versus D&T. I think it's 12-0.
It is. Indeed.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Really? Is it that good? Holy moly!
It's a really, really good matchup. Then round 3 was against like Jeskai mid range. It was just Shredders, Murktides, DRC, the usual, but then like swords and prismatic endings.
And no mentors.
No mentors, no. So I got to win that one because no mentors. I noticed that they hadn't played a single bolt against me in the first game, so I brought in Magus's, and game 2 I played one, and they conceded with it on the stack. So that worked.
Very attentive.
Yeah. Round 4 was against Green White Depths, against Baum, who's in our Discord. We had some cool games. We had a really interesting spot in game 3, because they got me game 1. I was like set up with a lot of draws to combo them. I like Fable Unflipped and Welders everywhere, so I was like, as long as I draw something, an Engineer or a Grindstone, I win, but kind of bricked a few turns. And then game 2 and 3, I think I managed to get the combos together fairly easily. This is a matchup where before, when I had like Khan and Once Upon a Times, there's less fast mana in the deck. But basically I've added like a Petal and 2 Spirit Guides and a Soul Land since cutting those things. And it makes a huge difference in this matchup. You gain a turn ahead of them basically, because they can combo turn 3-ish, and you can definitely combo turn 3 very often. So that helps tons. Or just like getting a painter down and naming blue so you can blast the depths when they go to combo is big. So that matchup, I used to play like Run Afoul or like try and like have Ensnaring Bridge never worked because they always have Endurance or Prismatic Ending and stuff. But now I've just found like, blasting their Dark Depths or comboing them fast was the best thing.
Basic game plan, best game plan.
Yeah, just kill their lands. Round 5, Ruby Storm, I got really lucky here. Game 3, they kind of mulled to 5 and tried to go for it with a Seething Song into like draw 3, exile top 3 thing, and they hit all 3 lands. And so they went Galvanic Relay for... I played a turn 1 Painter, and I had some like blasts available. And then they Galvanic Relayed for like 6 or something, and hit all non-lands, but like tons of mana. So I untapped and blasted both their lands, and then they didn't draw another one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're such a bully, man.
So yeah.
I thought like we would have like the most elaborate sequence of events coming up. Like I untap and double sinkhole them.
Yeah, I was, because they had like an Ancient Tomb in the Mountain. I was like looking at their things, and they had like Rite of Flame. There was one Lotus Petal. There was like a Jessica's Will. There was another draw 3. There was a Defense Grid. There was like tons of stuff, and I was like, shit.
You went to full monkey mode.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Destroy.
I was like, shit, I'm just dead. And I was like, oh, I can just kill that land. Sweet.
Yeah.
So I did that.
Anyway, I started blasting.
Exactly. Killing lands, you don't do it much in this deck, but when you do it, it's insanely good and feels great as well. Round 6 was against Aluran. This is the one where we were talking about splitting, and he said, let's play, which again, I'm super happy we did. I lost game 1, and then game 2 and game 3, I think I Magus them, and yeah, they're a bug deck, so Magus. Quarterfinals was against Jeskai Midrange, the same opponent I played earlier. I did lose a game here, but I think, again, I don't remember exactly what happened, but either Magus or combo, like, it's a pretty good matchup generally. They have a very slow clock, they don't have Mentor, and you can blast their threats, so it's fine. Semi-finals is against, like, my idol, was against Kanakan. So, a Japanese player that plays Bomberman, like, the only person that's brave enough to play Bomberman, like, exclusively online. Yeah, so game 1, I lost to a Khan into Bridge, and I couldn't really, like, I didn't find a Fury, essentially, for the Khan, so that's fine. And then game 2, I think I found a pretty fast... No, game 2 was sick, actually. So game 2, they had, like, a very good draw as well. They had a Khan, and then they had a Auric Salvages with LEDs and Walking Blister around. but I'd played a turn 2 engineer. I'd played a turn 1 welder, turn 2 engineer. I did a chalice as well, so I went turn 1 welder, they played chalice. And I searched for pin and needle with the engineer. So then they played a Khan. I welded in the pin and needle in response. And then I got to attack the Khan down with a construct I made. And then they untapped and played the salvages, and I got to sacrifice it to the engineer, then bring it back in with the welder again to name the salvages. And then basically the needle just hard carried that game. I welded in and out in the face of a chalice multiple times.
This is actually it's a real martial arts style. They bring on all the different techniques, and you're like the needle keeps flipping around. I see them throwing punches high and low, and you're just easy. That stereotypical martial artist just uses 2 fingers to stop the attack. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, it was really cool. I actually watched the replay of that afterwards to see if I did everything right, and it was this kind of game where you make one mistake and you lose it on the spot because they just kill you, combo you out of nowhere.
So. You were in the Matrix. You were seeing the code.
Yeah, indeed. And then game 3, they had a turn 2 kill with Oryx salvages and 2 LEDs, and they even played the salvages through a cavern. I don't know if I'd painter out, but I boarded in 3 Mimeric traps in this matchup. So I got to grab the I think I played a turn 1 Fable actually, but I managed to hit the Oryx salvages, and then I'm pretty sure I hard cast a Mimeric trap off 2 treasures from attacking with the Goblin Shaman as well. So yeah, Mimeric trap came in clutch there. And then finals against Omnitel. I think I went over it quickly already, but lost game 1. Game 2 and 3, I managed to find the Soul Guide Lantern with the combo, but I had a ton of interaction for their things. I blasted some cantrips as well. I counted 3 or 4 show and tells of the games and kind of just about got there. Importantly, you can't name blue against this matchup because they play Veils. So when you go to grindstone them, if they have a Veil, they get protection from themselves. So you got to name I can't remember what I named, but not white and not blue or black.
Remind me again, why are you not supposed to name white? I saw you also mentioned that in an stream.
This is a moral thing. If you're a combo deck, you can't name white because white is just not for combos. Straight up.
Oh, I thought it was deeper.
No. Combo decks are
simple.
not white. Yeah, no. We're an honorable combo deck. If you make white mana off an LED, you're losing that game 110%. I watched Anurag and Jarvis U play a Belcher mirror when I got everyone to play Belcher a few years ago, and Jarvis had the turn 1 kill, activated his LED for white mana, and activated Char Belcher, and the Tiger was the second card. So
punished.
Oh, dude, that was amazing. That was amazing. That was when we got, I want to say 20 people in a challenge to play Belcher, and there was this one guy, and we reconstructed their matchup, and they literally played against Belcher 5 rounds in a row, and then they dropped.
It was 4, but they were playing Burn. They played against Belcher the first 4 rounds.
The first 4 rounds, and the last round they would have played against Belcher again.
Yeah, then they dropped.
But they dropped.
That was the best story to come from it.
I think there have been a couple. Didn't we even release the Belcher Bible or something? I think Orem actually released the Belcher Bible or something, right?
Orem did. Yeah. I want to do that again. It was so fun. But,
we got to figure out which deck. Maybe it's Belcher again.
It's got to be Belcher again. Belcher's iconic. It's obviously not as good as Oops and stuff, but Belcher's just the coolest one.
Always how people on paper, they're okay, your Tiger is actually supposed to be a foil Russian Stomping Grounds or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. You know what's actually an insane addition to Belcher? 4 Fable in the sideboard. Holy shit.
Actually, that's really good, right?
That's so good.
It's so good, you might even almost play it. In the main deck, you don't really need it. You just blast it. Yeah. Cool.
Cool. So, yeah, I have a primer in the works. It's I'm hoping to do it pretty nicely. It's going to go over all because Painter's still a bit niche and stuff. It's not everyone knows the roles of everything, so I'm kind of trying to go fairly in depth and talk about a lot of things and stuff. So that'll come hopefully in the next week or so, but I don't want to make a promise because I'm not sure yet.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, that's what I've been up to. Lots of painting. Hopefully anyone that picks up the deck has some fun painting. The cool thing about the deck is it has tons of depths and options and stuff. So this is what I think this build is very good for the format right now. There'll be formats where you do want Khan again. There'll be formats for splashes. The white splash is good against combo and stuff. But for now this mono red one is kicking ass. So I recommend it highly.
Oh, what a great deck! What a great deck! I'm torn between building this or maybe even at some point I have again in paper.
It's also aesthetically beautiful. I have I'm a stickler for. I like having old border cards and nice.
Yeah, most important
back
question actually. I've got to go about that. Choice of mountains.
So in paper, I have Ice Age ones.
Yeah.
I just think they look really cool. I bought loads for the deck when Astrolabe was legal, and I just love the artwork, like the actual snowy mountains. So I use them. Online, I have Mirage ones, so I do have the Mirage ones in paper as well. So I'm always split.
Oh, those are beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, Mirage is just sick. But I think I'm going to buy some Portal ones for paper next. I think it's the second age, but they have like super dark, imposing mountains. I was reminded by how much I love them from Doomwake was streaming, and he had some in his one of his decks. And Portal's when I got into Magic, so it's kind of nice. So yeah, Portal next, but any Mirage you can't get wrong.
That's sick. Yeah, I think like mountains are absolutely underappreciated. Like there are so many cool looking mountains. Even I kind of like those from Portal Three Kingdoms as well. Like they are white bordered, I know, but they have like a somewhat unique artwork. Like no one plays them. You know, like no one really plays them. That's
super cool. Yeah, I'll try and find the Portal one. I mean, but yeah, they're all good. Portal lands are amazing and underappreciated as well, I think.
Actually, might be. Yeah. I'm not. I like beta basics, especially for like islands, plains as well. I'm not such a giant fan of the beta mountains.
Yeah, I have 2, but Painter's now playing 4, and I was like, I like these other lands enough to play.
Honestly, like I think the Guru ones are also really nice, but I have no idea. They might be like too expensive.
Oh,
these days.
They're super expensive. Yeah, Guru's lovely, but way out of my budget.
Yeah, is it like 100 or something?
I'm sure
easily
3 or 4. I think.
Whoa! Now I gotta look it up. I had no idea. Like I'm always constantly wrong about this stuff. So yeah. I remember when they were like 20 or something, and people were like, "Oh, nobody buys that at 20. It's crazy." Expansion Guru lands. Here we go. Mountain starts on MKM at 250. You're right.
Oh.
So it's probably more like it starts at 250 for a poor one. That's basically been like that. It basically starts at 300 at 3 to 400.
Right. I mean that's the thing, right? Like if you buy a Guru lands, you probably want to buy them in near mint or excellent, in a good condition. Like it's like I don't know, like it's like the shittiest pimp if you pimp something and that's like in poor conditions. Like dude, what's the purpose, you know?
Yeah.
But with that poor one that looks so bad, they might actually need to invent another category. This is like beyond poor. This is like cut in half almost.
Oh gosh.
I have some super beat up FBB bolts in the deck. They are like really bad condition because they were cheap and I needed to get some.
Well, they tell a story. It's like when you have a scar somewhere.
Yeah, there's totally my scar from MKM from last week. Yeah, totally.
You know, when you ever sell them, you need to like include a certificate of authenticity. This card has been torn because I played it in the finals of the World Championships 1998 or something.
This is from the great Dragon Rage Channel Awards of 2022. Which is the only reason I play bolts, by the way. That fucking card is the only reason I have bolts in this deck. If that card wasn't in the format, you can cut bolts and feel good about it.
I was wondering because
really?
I shared the list locally, and a couple of Painter players, they were like especially interested in the bolts because they immediately went ahead and cut the bolts, of course. That's just like how it goes in Magic.
It's not the most fun card, but you have to kill Dragon Rage Channeler. I had 2 for a while thinking, can I get away with it? But every game Blue Red starts with a DLC, you have to kill it. Like I've even like just Fury pitched something turn 1 just to kill that thing. Like the selection they get off it is insane. It's too good. So
that's some true hate.
Yep. So that's why 3 bolts.
Damn.
Cool.
But a nice little trick you can do with this deck is against Delver, you fetch up the Solgar Lantern like first almost every single time, unless you're really mana screwed and need like a pedal or an opal. And the cool thing you can do is when they're delirious, if you have some creatures in play, which you usually have some like random 2/2s or constructs, you let them be forced to attack, and then you crack it, and then they're 1/1s, and you get to eat them alive. I had that with 2 of them. They just attack it, and I got to like crack it, exit the graveyard, and then channel Sekenzen and make 2/2s and just trade.
That thing.
Yeah. It's nice.
Sweet.
Awesome. So yeah, you guys, I wasn't really up to all that much. I commentated the Energy series. Actually, I ended up commentating both Pioneer and Modern because it was a team event. First time commentating Pioneer. The format looked actually a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. Like limited card pool, you always feel like, there's only going to be so much going on. But yeah, I liked it quite a bit actually. So really I'm excited to do more of that. And another big thing, we were approached by people. Oh, the drum roll.
People.
Yeah, not animals apparently. Like knocked at the door. Julian, do you have food? Okay, no. We were approached by the people behind the Four Seasons Bologna event, and they are putting out a really, really big event, and it's even starting this year. And that one's gonna be the European Legacy Masters.
Dun, dun, dun. I don't quite have the sound effects done.
I think you guys are already in the picture, right? I want to say this is not something that we are producing or putting on, but we were approached to get the word out. The podcast is coming out on Wednesday, which is when the information goes live. What is the European Legacy Masters? First of all, it's not a tournament series. It's not a new tournament series. It's a network of tournaments. So what they are doing for the first time basically in European history is we aggregate all the local, all the regional play that's happening in Europe, and that by the end of the year feeds into a big tournament, the so-called European Legacy Masters, which happens parallel to Four Seasons in Bologna, which will crown the European Legacy Champion. So this is really the first time that from inside the community, people are trying to link tournaments really in all various kinds of countries, and they keep adding more countries to a list. So yesterday I was actually part of the meeting and listened to all of that, and I think we had like representatives from 12 or 15 countries. Some of them are covering 2 countries, and they keep adding more. So the big idea behind this is we can really have these tournaments that are happening at local and regional level mean even more, because now they will qualify you for the European Legacy Masters, and then you will come to Bologna with your friends and also like play the Four Seasons event, because that's the other big selling point, right? You're not only coming for this tournament, and then ideally represent your country along with like 2 or 3 teammates and win the European Legacy Masters for your country, and of course also for yourself. So this is happening this year. If you want to find more information about that, I think the best place to go is going to be europeanlegacymasters.wordpress.com. They spared no expenses. And no, seriously, Tom de Decker from Belgium is putting, like, there's so many, like if you're involved in Legacy in Europe, there are so many people behind this who you will probably know, and who will also be listed on the websites as point of contact for your respective country if you want to qualify for this event. Because this year it's taking place on, let me look it up. I actually took notes yesterday, which is, I felt like a caveman, like literally writing on a piece of paper. See, I didn't even write this one down. I think it's 10th, 11, I want to say, of December. It's called the Four Seasons Autumn. It's going to happen. No, here it is. On the 2nd, on the 3rd, and the 4th of December in Bologna. And you play the European Legacy Masters on Saturday. And then on Sunday, you can play the Legacy main event. So that's the idea, right? You travel with your friends want to play. There's probably going to be the Modern main event on Saturday, then Legacy main event on Sunday. You still get to play everything, but you also get to take part in the European Legacy Masters if you qualify. And how you qualify depends on your country. I know for some countries, since at least this year, this is somewhat short notice for people, some representatives will be selected. I think that's the case for Germany. For other countries, like Belgium, for example, they have tournaments coming up. There's also regions where they will retroactively qualify the winners of the biggest tournaments in that country this year for the European Legacy Masters. So definitely get in contact with your representative listed on the website to find out how you can qualify for that. If you're from, let's say, micronation or something, like somebody who's not qualified, then reach out to any of the representatives, because they really want to make sure that your country is also going to represent it. So if you go to, let's say you're going to Four Seasons and you're from, like, what's a tiny country? I don't want to, let's say you're from the Vatican. Let's pick the Vatican.
Good save.
Yeah. And you have no representative, then reach out to the Four Seasons guys. There's a good chance that you're the only person from the Vatican attending Four Seasons in the first place. So you can actually automatically qualify for that, because really the big ideas we want, or I say we, I'm not involved with it, but they want all the countries represented. They want a real proper European championship. And yeah, this is what's happening this year. This year it's more like almost, I want to say, like a proof of concept. And then next year the big thing is going to happen. Next year I keep saying we again. I try to avoid that because it's really like them and I'm just getting the word out. They're going to have proper dedicated qualification criteria for all the European countries. So no more invites or anything that you can qualify for. And then from what I understand, the big tournament is happening in August or September, which gives you a little bit more reason to travel to Italy, like in the beautiful sun and everything. So yeah, check it out. EuropeanLegacyMasters.wordpress.com and find more information about that.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I'm excited to either I'll try and qualify and play myself, I think, but also if not, see hopefully friends play. It's just a very cool idea.
Yeah, I think at the Birmingham event that's coming up in October, you can actually qualify.
Cool.
Ooh, yeah, really curious to see how that's gonna shape out.
Yeah, and with that, I want to plug a couple of events. We've been approached by tournament organizers from different events to plug all the information about these events coming up. So first of all, I guess most people knew about this. Four Seasons Summer is going to happen from 10th to 11th of September in Bologna. I think Kai, you're going, right?
I'll be there. Just,
awesome. So meet Kai. I think I gotta send a couple more everyday tournament stickers to Kai so you can give them out.
Probably sticking in the 03 bracket. Let's see how things go.
See if you can borrow Painter, then you can do that.
I was gonna say it's not too late to switch to Painter.
Yeah, give me some of those like grindstones, if you don't mind.
And then
you know what? I don't think I've ever activated a grindstone in my life.
That's sad.
You haven't missed,
sad.
man.
I think a lot of people haven't. People need to understand the beauty of the deck.
Cool. So, second event taking place on the same date, 10th to 11th of September in one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, Ghent in Belgium. The Belgian Eternal Weekend. So, if you're not going to Bologna, but you're in the region, definitely go to Ghent, not only for the tournament, but also for the city. And third one happening 22nd, 23rd of October in Birmingham. I was trying to find an adjective, but I ran out of things to say about that city.
I mean, what's the best adjective for Birmingham? I don't even know.
It's urban.
Don't even go there. Just don't even try.
Don't even try. Yeah.
No, Birmingham doesn't deserve it.
Wait, isn't that like the same weekend as Las Vegas? I think, right?
Yeah, but if you had the choice between like Birmingham and Las Vegas, it's pretty clear, right?
So
yeah, definitely Birmingham.
Birmingham is so much grayer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's much more uplifting than LA. So anyway, I'll be at Birmingham. It's there's big legacy events on both days. It's not like one big event. It's two big events, but like one day is. So on the 22nd and the 23rd. I know there's some people coming over for like Delta, who is the current trophy leader, is coming over.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Delta is that's like a weapon, that guy.
He's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy, really. Like, have you looked up like all the 5-0 deck lists? Because like a lot of them are like really not that good.
Yeah, he plays like
right. It's like
just
a lot of like I don't know, like tier 2, tier 3 stuff. It's like just keeps getting. I don't know what's going on with this guy. He's crazy.
Yeah, his favorite decks are Lands and Painter. He said so. Probably play one of them at these events. But he's just like one of these guys that's played so much Legacy and is so clued into it. He can play bad decks well enough to beat good decks played mediocrely.
Where's he from? I've never heard about him before. Like he went on this insane run this season.
Sweden.
He's from Sweden. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm hoping that some of the other guys like he says he's trying to get the Stockholm crew together. We have a bunch of Swedish friends in like our Discord and stuff. I'm hoping a bunch of you guys can come over. We're really cool. If people are coming from out of town, let me know and like see if we can get like some dinner and drinks going and stuff, at least on the Friday evening. Probably definitely on the Saturday evening's drinks, and then Sunday evening drinks for sure. And then
that was actually the best part about my last visit to Birmingham, the food.
Yeah.
Fish and chips, and then we went to I think the other day, thank God it's Friday or something.
There's a reason we drink so much in England. It's because there's no good food to eat.
Yeah, there's no time for food.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Cool. So, and speaking of time, after 15 minutes, we're actually going to come to the main topic of today's episode. We felt like this was a pretty good time for a mailbag episode before Callum ended up just like randomly winning the challenge. It's like, what's up with that?
Yeah, Julian was like, "Oh, we've got nothing to talk about. Let's do a mailbag episode."
Yeah. No, I felt like last episode we did a really good roundup of what's going on in Legacy, and I didn't want to just like try to scrape the bottom of the barrel, just be like, oh, what should we talk about?
No,
so let's go ahead.
We haven't done a mailbag in like I don't even remember doing one myself, so it's been like a super long time. So
yeah,
I think they're really interesting. They're cool. So
yeah, Cool. So let's get into that. We got how many questions did we
got
get?
one,
1, 2,
right?
3,
And we're
4,
done.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got one question. I think we have like something like 20 questions.
Can we like narrow everything down to one single question? It's like one really long one.
Kai, what's your worst matchup in Legacy?
Painter.
Of course.
No. It's not even Painter. It's Callum Smith, dude.
So what's good against Callum?
Mentor at the moment.
Mentor.
You can play Mentor in your Doomsday
dude,
deck.
like this sounds so 2015. I'm not gonna lie, dude. But the best card, it's just Mentor. You know,
Yeah.
people keep saying.
And then
it.
there's this double blue Delph card. Yeah, that's also 2015.
Oh, Dig Through Time. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. We're going back, right?
Right?
And I've even seen some young pyromancers these
What
days.
if you play Dig Through Time with Mentor? Like, it finds more fuel to go.
I mean, that'd be crazy, right?
That was
not
the
even-
one time I actually quit Legacy.
This wasn't a question in the thing, but what were you guys playing at the Dig Through Time days?
Oh, that was the best time in Legacy. Holy moly! I mean,
my God.
that was the time. Can I leave? No, like that was that was a time when I top 8 at the Legacy GP in Kyoto. That was in
Sick.
2015. Because everyone was playing Dig Through Time in Delver, Omnitel, and Miracles, and I was storming them off. You know,
Hell yeah.
because I killed them before they cast Dig Through Time. That was the secret source of Storm back in the day.
I love it.
That sounds pretty smart.
Yeah,
Yep.
and was like such a powerhouse. I miss it.
Yeah, I tried so many decks back then. I started out playing elves, but then I ended up like playing sideboards of like 4 choke and something, and like I went really deep.
I was playing Grixis Control then, and fucking hell, that deck was so sick.
That deck was.
We were playing
insane.
Grixis Control when like Miracles was legal.
Yeah. I did play Miracles when maybe with
Is
some
this our own mailbag episode now? I like it.
yeah. Should we ask her questions? Where's that
We
Obama
ask
putting a medal on
questions.
himself meme? But you'd play against Miracles. You'd play Pyromancer Ascension, and then you'd start copying D 3 times, and you'd just like puke on the table. It was
Hell
so
yeah,
gross.
hell
Oh my
yeah!
God.
That's exactly my jam. That's so freaking cool.
It was like you would just have like 3 Pyromancers and 4 Strix as your win cons, but like you'd play like I think I actually ended up with like 2 Ascensions main deck, and God, that deck was so sick.
Yeah, probes and Cabal therapies.
Yeah,
you
probes
know,
and therapies as well. Oh my God, yeah.
loads of power blasts.
You played,
It was so
like-
good.
Actual factual 2 counterspells main deck as well. It was cool.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, should we go to the
Okay.
long
Yeah.
questions from ourselves?
I actually, in speaking of our own mailbag episode, I submitted my own question because I thought I would forget it. That's why I put it at the very beginning.
We just did that section of our own questions.
Nah, I'm still in that section. Kai, I have a question for you. It's about Japan, because that's actually something I've been wondering the other day. There's, in Europe and North America, we have that weeb culture and everything. People are like, oh, living in Japan is going to be amazing. Oh, this is so cool. Is the same thing happening in Japan for, let's say, Europe or the United States? Is there like a subculture in Japan where they're like, oh my God, I love everything about Europe or America or someplace, and they're like really into it, and I don't know, reading European fiction and stuff, and is that a thing?
So yeah, kind of. So first of all, most Japanese think that everything that comes from Europe or from America is like really really cool, or like super teched out. I don't know, like just way different, right? And I'm not really big into anime and manga, but I've heard that a lot of those like super popular mangas and animes in Japan are always about like, I don't know, about like German like tongues, for example, like they're called like Panzer, for example, like like anime girls having like German weapons, things like that. It's kind of really crazy, but there are definitely a lot of like parallels to that. And I don't know, like also the idea of like everything in Europe is just big. I guess it's like kind of like an upside. I don't know. Whenever I introduce myself as like I'm someone who's like half German, half Japanese, like everyone's like, dude, wow, Germany, damn, that's sick. And it's like in my head I was like, dude, that's actually the opposite of sick. But thank you so much. But I don't know.
Now that you mentioned that Panzer thing, I saw that anime the other day, or rather like just the Wikipedia page of it. It's called Girls und Panzer. So
yeah, it's
Girls
called
and Tank.
Right, Girls
this is
and Tank.
Insane. And apparently, can I quickly read out the setting description on Wikipedia, because this is hilarious.
Go on.
The story takes place in a world where historical World War II era tanks are maintained for sport-style warfare competitions and large carrier ships known as academy ships support mobile C communities. Of the many activities high school students can participate in, one of the most popular is the Way of the Tank, the art of operating tanks, which is considered a traditional martial art for females. How do you even come up with this?
That's crazy, right? Like I feel like a lot of times like Japanese kind of take like A plus B, but that's like completely the opposite thing. They kind of like mash them together, you know? Like you have like those like super cute high school student girl groups, and then they're like, you know, just mash them together with like weapons and tanks and, you know, whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you do when you're in high school. Well, on the side, like some people play tennis, others like do tank warfare.
I hope someone's like just skimming through this episode and landed it just where Kai says that. Then you have these like girls just in tanks and stuff.
Right.
Honestly, I actually want to like watch a decent episode of it. I'm also like not really into anime and stuff, but yeah, that sounds intriguing.
Because like cool. I mean, like occasionally you play Magic against Japanese who have a playmat or like sleeves with like one of those characters, right? Because like that's how I got to know this the series, like Girls in Panzer. Is basically like this one guy had like this playmat with like super cute girls, and then like his sleeves and all tanks, and I really didn't get it at first, but then, you know, after the match, because like I remember like the match finished like real quickly, and we had a little time to talk, you know.
Cool. So yeah, should we take turns reading out the questions?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Who wants to go next?
I can go first, reading a question.
Okay.
So we got Tom Twice says, "What happened to the Legacy Premier League? Are we ever going to see it again?" Feels like this is for you, Julian.
Yeah, what happened to it? I think we did the 4th season in 2019, concluded in December 2019. Most famously, by the way, Anurag back then asked me whether we can actually like switch the dates of the finals. And I was like, yeah, sure. He's why? And he's like, oh, I'm getting married that day. Maybe we can. I'm like, yeah, do something. I like that he actually like kept it still like as a possibility to still like broadcast it on his wedding day. Like,
or was he really trying to hide up that go to combat through Wasteland thing?
Oh, maybe he did. Oh god, that was in season 2. I think he hasn't played like he voluntarily withdrew from the league ever since and has done production.
Nice.
But yeah, what happened to it? It's a lot of work, and I keep saying that it's really a lot of work. So the actual production happens for something like 2 or 3 months, depending on how we structure it. But I think we found a pretty good structure. But then preparation also takes at least another 2 months, because there's a lot of graphics to be made. You know, lots of tiny things. I produce like a player's guide PDF. There's all the information for the players. I do a lot of things for that, and that takes a lot of time. And so basically, it ties up my time, a lot of my free time. I want to say 50% of my free time for several months, something like 5 months. And that's a lot of time. And from as much as I love doing it, I was very bad at monetizing the entire thing. So we got a lot of money from sponsors, which Anurag and I split, and that's great. But I feel weird talking about it, but it was not enough. Not from the sponsors. Like, we got everything we asked the sponsors for, and I feel like I pushed it to what's reasonable. I don't want to like artificially push them for more, but I was very bad like at trying to monetize it through the community. So that's on me. I really should have gotten the word out that it's
I will say that I think monetizing things in Magic has come a long way, and like people being paid for their time of doing guides and streaming and subs and all this stuff, it's become a lot more normalized. So I think you could definitely put out like a donation button, and you'd get a lot more like that.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Right.
We had a thing, you can donate, but I think it's you gotta do it the other way around. It's more like a Kickstarter or whatever, you know, like we need to hit this for us to make sense.
Yeah.
In order to run it, yeah.
Yeah, that would work. I think people would be a lot more willing to shell in now that we've had these discussions and how much work it is. Like, I've never seen the behind the scenes bit. I can just guess it's tons, and it's probably more than I guess.
Dude, I remember the 4th season. One of the play days happened when I was in China, and of course, you know, China is so many more hours ahead, and then US is so many hours behind. And I remember I arrived in Beijing on the airport, and it was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the morning or something, and I kept like trying to get a connection, because, you know, back then the crackdown in Hong Kong was happening. And for like 1 weekend, all the VPNs didn't work properly, even in Beijing, and I could barely like connect to anybody. And I was like, oh my god, the thing is happening in 2 hours, and I can't connect. And I was so anxious before I realized, oh wait, it's in 24 hours. I'm like so far ahead time sometimes. I can just literally. But yeah, I did all the production from James Chu's apartment in Beijing. That was amazing. That was great that he had me out there. But overall, yeah. First of all, actually, I would need to talk to Anurag because I'm not sure he would even have like the time to do that because he's so busy with like all the production that he's doing. And yeah, like I mentioned, like the money that we were splitting, that's like that probably like wouldn't justify it for him. But I would need to talk to him. But other than that, I would probably need to get like something like at least 2 or 3 people on board to help produce that. And then I also want to pay them. And of course, like these days, I think it's a very good thing that it's become a standard that all the commentators are getting paid. Because in the past, we didn't pay LPL commentators. We paid the commentators Anurag and I hired for Eternal Weekend 2020 when we produced that for Wizards, because of course we got money from Wizards for that. So yeah, we don't want you to work for free for us. And I would also want to do that for the Legacy Premier League. And I know some people who would be willing to cover that, at least when we floated the idea like 1 or 2 years ago. But yeah, I feel like I want to do it. I definitely want to do the 5th season. But from the moment I would decide to do it until it actually happens would be something like 6-7 months at least, and then we could push ahead. And I don't feel that I'm in a position right now to make that call, because even though I took the entire month off to basically catch up with life, really like straight up catch up with life, I would still need like some time. So yeah, if it happens, it will happen like something late 2023, late 2023 at the earliest, but I would love to do that.
Yeah, let's keep it in brackets. That's good.
Cool. So yeah, here's a question coming from Tom the Decker. Are there any non-legacy formats you wish you could explore more? What are they? What attracts you to them? And what has stopped you from getting into them more?
Kai, do you want to take this?
Yeah. So there are quite a few non-legacy formats I dig. I'm a big fan of Modern. I also dig Vintage a lot, and what else? Old School. I also play Standard on Arena from time to time, and I think also Limited. I think the only format I don't actively play is Pioneer, because that's not even a good reason. But so I think that the format I want to talk about is probably Old School, because I think it's like the most misunderstood format, at least for myself. Like when I started Old School, I thought it's like the casual legacy format, basically, right? Like you get to play those dual lands and those sorts of plowshares and lightning bolts and yada yada yada, and but it's not like with all power planeswalkers. There's no brainstorm, there are no fetch lands. You just kind of like just play your deck, right? And the moment where everything kind of stopped being that attractive to me was when I attended a couple of those Old School tournaments, because like everyone was just so much older. It's like I felt really like misplaced in those events. And I like those, like they were all nice guys. Like, just don't get me wrong, like they were all super cool. There was just like, dude, they could have been like all of them could have been like my dads, you know. Like it was like, I guess that was kind of like this strange thing, maybe, because like we couldn't really talk about anything else but Magic, which is fine.
How many kids do you have?
It's like, right, like how many grandkids do you have is almost the right question. Is but other than that, I think Vintage also has a pretty sick community, at least in Japan back in the day. I haven't really played Vintage in Europe much, but
yeah, there's not really many places where you can actively play Vintage. I know they do it like in Belgium, and of course in all the Italian events, I guess there's going to be events. But
like the biggest difference between like people in Europe or in the States and in Japan about Vintage is like a lot of people in Europe want to start Vintage because of the Power 9 and because it's it's super old and bonkers and whatnot, and most Japanese want to start Vintage because of Deathrite Shaman, because they want to play that. I'm not even joking. That's like the weirdest reason to start Vintage. But it's literally like, hey, I kind of want to play more Tarmogoyfs and more of those Deathrite. Just give me some more of those.
It's the home of Tarmogoyf now, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. It's one of the best creatures. So
Deathrite has a funny thing, right? It was banned because of Delver, but it's kind of universally loved. It's weird. I love the card and kind of miss it in a weird way as well, even though I was like a Shardless rather than Delver player back then.
Totally.
But yeah,
but what about you, Callum? Like, did you have any like non-legacy formats you wish you could explore more?
yeah, Premodern's my answer very, very easily.
Ah.
I have a bunch of decks. I have Goblins, Dead Guy, half of like Tinker, Mud. I think I have Oath. I have the Solution. I just haven't like. I've played a few games with one friend in London, but just haven't like got around to playing it more. There used to be some evenings where people would meet up in London, but it was like 2.5 hours away from me because London's big. So I just like haven't played it more. There's tons of
2.5 hours. I can like walk across Munich.
Yeah. London is silly. I live very far north at the moment, so it's my fault. I'm out of the way, but I'm moving soon, so maybe there'll be like more opportunities. But yeah, Premodern's awesome. And what are they? Premodern is a format from. Sorry, you guys are gonna have to help me. Yeah,
I mean that's basically where
before the new
old
borders,
school
right?
where old school ends, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of like the smooth transition, I think.
Yeah, so when old school ends, but before modern was made.
Well, modern starts at like 8th edition, and I think Merodin or something.
Yeah. So for me, it's like a super nostalgic format. I was playing extended back then, so you have like Psychotog and Exalted Angels and Click Slithers and just cards like I just absolutely adore. So it's like for me, I wouldn't like. It seems like a pretty like fun and healthy format as well. There's some people like constantly innovating things and stuff, but for me, it'd be purely about playing cards that I like. So I've actually got like a pile of Goblin stuff to the side to play, and I don't think Click Slither is in the good list, but god damn, am I gonna fucking play it because that card is so sweet. So yeah, totally Premodern.
Damn.
Yeah, the only thing stopping me is just time.
Right.
Julian?
And for me, I gotta agree. For me, it's also Premodern. Like, holy shit, is that format attractive? Like, this is what I want to be doing. And I want to give a huge shout out. I don't know who made the website, premodernmagic.com, but a huge part of my attraction is, dude, that website. You click on decks, and they literally know how they get you. Honestly, like those people should be selling drugs or something. They don't present like this is all text and you click here and you see the text. No, they literally have all the decks, like even like with the correct artwork, right? They have the old Salt of Plowshares, they have the old Attica Wastes, they have like what is this? Is this Mirage Basic Land something?
Yeah. They use my favorite islands. I'm looking at it right now.
I'm also looking at it right now, dude. This looks fantastic.
Dude, you got
holy
like
moly.
Counter Rebels. You got
this is how you get people. This is literally how you get people.
Yeah, so I could be scrolling that down. Premodernmagic.com, and there's a decks thing. It's just gorgeous. What I will add though is, despite us opining about like how old art's the best, and because this is what is nostalgic for us, my understanding of like players and from what I've read everywhere is they are absolutely more than welcoming to like reprints and stuff. They play because the cards themselves are like nostalgic. So if you come with like an all original artworks thing, you're going to have comments about how lovely it is, but I've seen tons of like kind of Twitch things of people playing or YouTube videos and stuff, and like kind of new printings or gold border cards are more than acceptable. So if you want to get into Premodern, but like the old printings are more expensive and stuff, just use the new ones. People are really cool with it. Oh, I forgot Mastercore is like in my top 5 favorite cards of all time, so I get to play with Mastercore.
Oh hell yeah.
Well.
Yeah, that card taught me how phases work in Magic. The draw comes after the upkeep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for me for Premodern as well.
Yeah.
Sick. Okay. Let me read out the next question. It's from Kinda. When will the Everyday Eternal podcast crew do a stream together where they play Magic's most popular Eternal format? Bonus points if you already know what commander you want to play. Sorry.
So it sounds like we need to play an EDH thing. And
wait, that. Ooh, I'm in. I just finished. Yeah, I think like last week I just finished my second commander deck.
Cool. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I don't know. It's commander is also like something else. A lot of people play commander, I think, right?
Yeah, it's the biggest way to play Magic, surely.
Right.
Yeah.
It might even be bigger than kitchen table Magic these days. I don't know. It's so big.
I thought that was like the same thing.
No, kitchen table Magic literally is, I don't even know the proper rules. It's just like buy packs and jam and have fun.
Yeah.
And Maro is always like, this is the actually biggest way to play Magic, and of course it's the least visible one.
Yeah, but after that, the EDH is the biggest way. I'm totally down to play a thing. Do we do it online though and stream it?
I mean,
I
We
think
should like meet in Berlin and just like play in the studio.
exactly. I think I kind of is probably asking about like those what's it called? I hate your deck, or like like command zone type of like videos where like four people get together and like in a studio and if like a 1,000 cameras here and there and like a stick light setup.
What's in about this?
I mean, I gotta dudes. I got a studio. I got lights.
Okay.
Oh, you got lights? Oh man.
I at least have one camera here. You got to bring all the other remaining 1,000 cameras. But
if we come to that, well, maybe we do both. Like, I think us three just playing an EDH game, maybe with Kinda 4-player.
Right.
we could stream it, do Magic Online.
Okay, so here's my question then. So what commander would you guys pick?
So I've got two answers. If we were playing like more competitive, I'd play Urza because Urza's sweet and I like artifacts. But otherwise, they're about to release the Warhammer 40,000 commander decks. So I play Tyranids in Warhammer, and they're about to do a Tyranid deck. So the Swarm Lord is the commander of that deck. So
I've not even seen that.
I'm gonna have the Swarm Lord. I'm a bit disappointed by it. The card itself is really bad and really boring, but it's Tyranids, and I love them.
Damn, that's like. What about you, Julian?
So it depends. I was invited to a couple of CEDH things, and I want to say the last year by Pleasant Kenobi. And if I remember correctly, I might have played Isuri. That's just like the commander I would love to play. The one I want to play the most is Rofalos, but apparently that's like banned in basically every format.
Card's pretty busted.
Yeah, that's like the first thing I wanted to do whenever I heard about like commander formats, like even like dual commander and stuff back then. I was like, oh, I'm gonna play Rofalos. They're like, oh, this is banned. Then I wanted to play like everything I wanted to play was banned. I was like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna play. I think Yisan, but then that was banned in dual commander as well. Like every time I touch a deck, it gets banned. Titania was also like amazing commander. So it would be something like, I don't know, Isuri, Titania. I'm actually looking at EDH recommendations.
Say, like, anything mono green then, yeah?
Okay, yeah. It's actually kind of funny because like I know my way around dual commander, but I really don't know all that much about like normal commander or like CEDH. Even though that seems to be a little bit of a train wreck.
From what I can tell in CEDH, like you all have like tons of interaction, but like the way I saw most games end is with
Sol Ring?
No, Thassa's Oracle, right?
Thassa's Oracle or Breach combos.
Damn.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I think like the CDH, I really haven't played a single game in CDH, but it looks like it's a lot of like those like combo control type of mirrors. Like a lot of people have like 1,000 packs of negations and mana drains and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like mental missteps everywhere.
Right,
and silences and stuff.
Whereas Commander is more like the like, hey, I'm gonna make 1,000, I don't know, squirrel tokens, and
Yeah. I built one of those decks for one of those. I don't know if I ended up playing it or not. I think we had the second time I was invited, the stipulation was you play all old frame cards. At least that's what I created for me. And I think I put an elf deck together that was all old frame. And I'm not sure if I ended up playing it, but yeah, that's something I would. Oh, that would be amazing.
That's like the pre-modern version of Commander.
Yeah, and I think you would play like Eladamri, I would guess. Like I'm actually looking at the most played commanders for mono green decks. There's like Eladamri, and then like at 27th place or something, there's Staten, tap an untapped druid you control at 1 green. Yeah, thank you. I pass.
I'm like so into like low powered EDH stuff. The last EDH deck I built was like 2 years ago. It was a Joyra, the 4-mana 3/3 that whenever you cast like a historic card, you draw a card. And I had like Frogmite and Mere Enforcer in my deck. So
it's like Frogmite and Mere Enforcer in the same deck.
So you guys don't have to worry about me. I'm chill. I'm just gonna like do some dumb things with artifacts and my main.
Nobody's ever gonna attack Callum.
Right.
Although
cool.
So we have a friend in London who he has a CDH cube. It's really fun to draft. I'm just not like that into multiplayer, so I always struggle with playing it a little bit. But it is still actually really fun. He's got me quite interested in the format just by nature of playing it. So yeah, you do like a normal draft, but you have to draft your commanders, then you build the deck out of it. And there was one game where I was just like constantly going on about how I built like a Grixis control deck. I always try and force combo stuff. Not control. And then I started saying like, combat doesn't matter. Like we're at 40 life. What are you gonna do? Attack me to death? And so the whole table obviously attacked me and killed me.
That's what you get, man. That's what you get.
So yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I would love to do that sometime.
Cool. I reckon we should, us three and Kinda, play an EDH game online.
We can do that too. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit messy with the interface, but like, I could definitely stream it.
I've played with Kinder a few times.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So like you one-on-one or like actual multiplayer?
Multiplayer. Yeah.
Oh, that works because
Yeah. Kinder's also my teammate for a big Warhammer tournament coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. You guys are like taking the world by storm in
We're
Warhammer.
gonna
I've heard about
crush.
that like many times.
Yeah.
You're gonna actually open your own Warhammer gaming house, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Not so sure about that. Isn't that why you're moving? I thought so. Okay, cool.
I'm moving to this one.
Let's move on to the next question.
Yeah. Should I do this? Okay. So this is from Disco Drogo. It says, what makes a good paper tournament? What is a good balance between entry, prize structure, length, size? How much should be put into comfort and access to nice food and drinks? How about you start, Julian?
I want to say the best paper tournaments, like outside of the people you travel with, right? Because I feel like the people you travel with are the biggest factor in like the great experience you have. I've actually been to one tournament where I traveled with somebody who like wasn't an asshole or anything. We just like I just like couldn't stand. I can't help it. And that's literally the only tournament where I literally booked a flight the day earlier to fly home because I was also getting a little sick and I was like, dude, I'm really not feeling this weekend, and I left a day earlier.
Right.
So yeah, but the best tournaments I remember them for the people I traveled with, for like what we did before and after the tournament and everything. I don't remember them for what happened in the tournament. Yeah, it was like nice to win bomb and stuff, but I really like the best experiences is like, you know, traveling along the US, going to China, or even like the castle we rented in Lille. Kai was there back then, and that's what makes for a great tournament. But when it comes to tournament infrastructure, which I feel like Disco Drogo is asking about, having enough space goes a long way. Having enough space and fresh air somehow. I mean, yeah, it's a little harder in winter, but enough space for your table, that takes away so much stress that would otherwise be there. And then, yeah, access to food and drinks. I usually I have everything I need with me. But if you have decent food and drinks, like it's more like drinks actually. Like I don't really have time at big tournaments to like eat proper meals in between rounds and stuff. But if it's not overpriced, that's good. Like I usually drink water during tournaments anyway. And price structure, I've grown to not care all that much about that anymore. Like there was a time when I would literally calculate the margin they get on just like the entry fees and stuff. But I mean, as long as I go to a tournament and don't feel like they're like taking the piss or something, I'm like, okay, dude, whatever. You're putting on this event and I want to take part in it, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I personally don't have a very strong opinion on like price structure, length, size, etc. Because I think like I have a pretty like basic idea of, you know, like it's like a basic idea of like, you know, like those numbers. But for me personally, I think like food and drinks is probably like it's just way up there. I'm usually not a person who has all the food and drinks and snacks in the bag, but I'd rather just be at the venue where there is a good balanced food booth. Which we
same like that.
Which we had in at the tier 1 con in Sweden, for example. There was like this super nice cafe-ish salad bar like modern food booth in the center of the hall, which I thought was like extremely nice. And I witnessed the exact opposite at the Gamescom 2022 just a week ago, where at the biggest games convention they had the shittiest food ever. Like, and like they even called themselves like restaurants, and all you could get was like fries, chicken McNuggets, and what, like and one overpriced salad, which was just not affordable, right?
It's probably like I would guess like €12 for a small salad or something.
It was 14, but yeah,
like come on, dude.
Right, like things like that, I guess. And obviously, like, you know, like good company. Like if you go with the friends, obviously that's a good thing. But if I can like stretch one single thing, it would be food and drinks, and that's so underrated, I want to say, because like a lot of tournament organizers really don't think about food and drinks all that often.
Yeah, I guess to interrupt you there, Callum, I think the reason I always like didn't touch on it all that much is because I kind of assume that it's always going to be overpriced. So I'm like, yeah. I mean, if it's reasonably priced, I'm all about that.
It's yeah. I kind of, for me, I expect it to be a bit overpriced. Like you're paying a premium in an event where they just know they're going to have tons of people. The prices is like, unless it's ridiculous, then I'm expecting it to be expensive. But you do want it to be readily available and kind of nice at least, or something. I'm with you on that. Like, I always forget to bring any water or snacks or anything with me. I just don't even think of it. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna echo what you guys said. Like, the size, like, I like events that, you know, have enough people. I'm not super enthusiastic about like under 50 unless it's like a thing like the LLMs that I do and stuff. I wouldn't travel for something that's too small. But a more local thing is totally fine, obviously. And then prizes, I often never even look at the prizes, honestly. Like, if I'm looking at like Four Seasons or like a Tier 1 con, I wouldn't even know the prizes until like if I'm in topic contention, then I'll look at them. So that's a non-issue for me at all. Length and size, if you have the options, that's the coolest thing. Like, if you had like a GP every single weekend, you might get sick of it. But if you had like a 5-person thing every weekend, you wouldn't go to them either. So if you can like find a mix, that's what works nicely. But otherwise, yeah, like a mix of two-day events are really cool to play in every now and then. But yeah, not too small is the main thing, I guess.
One more thing that's actually really cool is when, I know it's not always possible, if the venue is rather accessible. I really, really liked it when we had those MKM tournaments in hotels. Like, for example, in Rome, they had 2 tournaments there over the years, and the actual tournament took place in the basement of the hotel. And you would literally just like get up, have your shower, go to breakfast with all the other Magic players, then usually just like walk back maybe to your room, freshen up or something, and then just walk down and you're there and the tournament starts. You could even like sometimes go back to your room and like fetch something. Yes, it was an amazing experience. Also, when the venue is in the center of town, like something I keep remembering, Callum, you might remember that in 2017 in Barcelona, we also had the venue like in basically downtown Barcelona, and it was so easy to get to.
9th even, not 7th.
Okay, sorry, carry on. I think I got top 8 or something.
You took forward, I'm pretty sure. I think lost to like Sneak and Show.
I lost in the quarterfinals to Sneak and Show.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I think I like almost killed my opponent on the second turn with Nissa Vital Force untapping Cradle like infinite times with like Violet. There's a video of that on YouTube. It's amazing what Nissa Vital Force at that tournament. But yeah, if it's like imagine the tournament is over, you walk outside the venue and it's like, hey guys, I just checked on Google, whatever. There's like a nice restaurant like 5 minutes down here. Let's just go there instead of like having to organize everything. Like, oh, how do we get there? We're outside town. It's like
that's way preferential to me than a hotel. Like, I rarely stay at hotels when I go to Magic things. I like to get a group of friends and get an Airbnb, and then I'm all about the after the event town drinks and dinner and stuff. So yeah, I loved being in the town center as well.
That's great. I think last years it hasn't really been much of a thing, and I know in a lot of cities we usually like have tournaments on the outskirts. I remember when we had a tournament in Hamburg. And it literally didn't even take place in the state of Hamburg. It was a different state.
I saw like I think it was SCG, but I might be wrong, so don't quote me on this. But there was like something where it said it was in a state, and it was just like, or in a town, it's like right on the outskirts, like hours away. Yeah,
I guess it happens in the US quite a bit, actually. Cool.
Yeah.
So next question coming to us from Martin. What are the player
Good job.
What are the player psychographic profiles of the grand archetypes? And I want to rephrase that as, would you rather date an aggro, control, or combo player? I mean, there's lots of like, prejudices about like, oh, aggro players are like this, control players are like this and stuff. But do you...
Easily combo player for me.
Yeah, same combo player.
Really?
Like, we don't have time for this, man. Like,
what?
Just...
Aggro is just going to be like really annoying, and control is going to be obnoxious.
Yeah, I can agree on that. Like, control would be super obnoxious. Like, but I want to date somebody who's like an aggro player. Like,
what if they start punching you?
No, the thing is about like aggro is like aggro teaches you. I think no deck more than aggro teaches you that you can sometimes like. What's the famous quote? It is possible to commit no mistake and still lose. That's just life. And I think somebody who has like internalized this, they are very chill. And I think more than anything,
to go against
aggro
what I was like just saying about making fun of aggro players being aggressive is actually aggro teaches you patience way more than control or combo does. Like playing around removal and all this kind of thing. So maybe I'm still going with combo because they sound more interesting.
Yeah, combo has like so much depth to it.
Yeah.
I think.
And apparently, like, nobody likes control mages.
I mean, I don't know. It's like way too sticky. And
I think the
slow.
control mages would agree as well. Come on. They don't,
Yeah.
they don't like themselves or each other either.
Is there like a healthy relationship of two control players? How does it work?
They're just going to be like, oh, you have that in your deck? Oh, that's interesting. And you just know that they're thinking that's the dumbest mistake you've ever done.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I tried that last week. It was okay.
Cool. Then let's move on to the next question.
Sorry, control players. You're cool, really.
Okay, the next question is from Martin. When we will see... Well, sorry, let me rephrase. This next question is from Martin. When will we see Dukes on Twitch on the cast talking about green-white depths?
I would love to. I would love to have him on. Like,
what about tomorrow? Yeah.
What about tomorrow? Yeah, let's make it happen. Time zones. Yeah, we know that's a conspiracy, right? Big time zone wants you to buy watches. Has he like properly transitioned to like being the go-to guy for green or depth? I think that's still like Michael Mapson or something, right?
There's like him and Michael, but
pretty much. I think Dukes is mainly about Green Sun Zenith in general. I think.
Makes sense, right?
Any deck that plays Green Sun Zenith, but also things like Death and Taxes from time to time.
I think of him as like a green-white based, but like fair player. Like
he's like the most Savannah-ish guy I can ever think of.
Yeah. He was playing a bunch of Hammer recently as well.
Ooh.
Oh, in Legacy?
Yeah, him and...
I mean, I've seen the deck to do things, but I wasn't aware that it's actually like a thing.
Oh, there's a player called Crusherbot who is like to his top 83 challenges with it, I think, maybe, or like is constantly getting posted. And Spider Space, who is an incredible modern player, he's like branched out into it and like went 5-2 in the showcase challenge with it. And then him and Dukes did a stream within the last week, and they 5-0'd on stream as well.
Powerful. They're
both just like very what's the word I'm looking for? Like just
chill.
They're chill. No, I'm anyway. We can cut this part out. I can't think of English words.
Proficient?
Yeah, they were proficient. Yeah.
Oh wait, I just looked up the deck list for the it was the Legacy Challenge, the 6th place, Crusherbot BG.
That's the one.
I'm looking at the deck list right now. It's literally a modern deck.
Plus Mox Opal and Ancient Den, basically.
Oh shit. Okay, I guess that card's banned in modern. But like this deck looks so cheap to build. Yeah. Holy moly! Like it plays sagas, but that's about it. I think the rest of the deck is just fairly cheap.
So yeah, modern Hammer players, if you're listening, you could just get Mox Opals are pretty cheap. They've got to be like 15-ish each.
Dude, it plays 4 copies of Mana Type in this sideboard. Are you kidding? Are you kidding
what
me?
What the fuck?
What?
Is that better than Orange Chant?
Well, people aren't going to play around it, are they?
Oh, that's
certainly
crazy. That is crazy. Because I remember like the modern versions are usually like Azorius colors, right? Like a little bit of a blue splash for either Teferi Time Raveler or like a couple of copies of Spell Pierce.
Lavinia and Spell Pierce is the big one.
Oh yeah. But like this deck literally doesn't give 2 fucks. Holy moly! Like like just screw Spell Pierce. We're gonna go Mana Type.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay.
So this deck is. So it's funny enough. I bought Hammer Time for modern tournaments, and then I was like, right, I'm gonna play it one day at one of our like local Tuesdays. This is like 3 months ago or something, and it was the biggest beating I've ever had playing Legacy. Like, I think I O2'd all 3 matches like so easily, and like I played against a control deck with Force of Vigors and like Pernicious Deed and like stuff like that. And then I played against a combo deck, and I was just completely like flailing dead in the water. And I do remember the last one that I got beaten so badly. I was like, okay, well, fine. That happens. I'm glad I tried it. And then Crusherbot just like lived up to the name and has been crushing with it. And,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
cool. Awesome. So should we move on?
So Dukes,
so back to the question. Yeah, Dukes, please. Yes.
We'll reach out to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Let's do it. All right. Next question is from Neville's Hooter. Has there been a rise in Legacy playables / set ever since Fire? And if so, do you think this is good or bad?
I think we can, like, the first question is pretty clearly, right?
Yeah.
There's been many more playables per set.
Because we used to see, like, 3 cards a year come into Legacy.
At best, right?
Yeah, and, like, very rarely would you have one that really took over the format. Like, the biggest overhaul was the Innistrad block and the Navarcin restored, I guess. But then until kind of Fire, it's very clear that we have tons more. And do you think it's good or bad? I'm going to say it's kind of feeling bad, but I don't know if that's like the right way to think about it. Like, I think they could just tone things down a bit. I like more new cards entering the format, especially with like the rise of Magic Online being played more than ever. Like, historically we just didn't have that much data from it. We're having like premier events online now. We're getting tons more data. We're seeing what the format's really like. I like new cards coming into Legacy. Like 3 coming into a year could get stale. You're more like relying on local metas being fun, interesting, and changing than the format itself changing. But yeah, some of these new cards are really, really good. I'm not looking at you, Murktide and Dragon Race Chandler.
Right.
So
yeah, I feel like it's kind of cool when it's more like sideboardy cards or cards that like don't like make for a bad time. Like I guess the best example is something like Endurance, right? Which sometimes even see plays in the main deck. That was a great edition, one of the greatest editions we had in Legacy. I almost want to say ever. Urza Saga is another really great card that didn't really slot into any of the dominant decks, but just like sticks around and makes like even like piles like Modern Hammer playable all of a sudden, I would guess. That's
right.
what happens. So I love when stuff like that comes into format, and especially when we have a lot more playables per set per year. If those are more like sideboard cards, they don't like completely screw up the metagame unless they make some deck unplayable, which of course sucks. But usually that doesn't really happen, I feel like.
Right. I think the rise of like legacy playables ever since the Fire is basically super good for content creators. I want to say it's actually the best, but it might be a little bit too much. I think like if we had like something in between, like I think these days we get too many playables for Legacy in a year. And before that, we had, as you guys said, we only had like 1, 2, maybe 3 playables, like fringe playables in Legacy. If you had like the sweet spot right in between, that'd be like the perfect like size for like regular Legacy players. But again, I would probably split between like regular Legacy and content creation.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually I didn't think about that. But yeah, for content creators, you get so many more like wonky decks and even like stuff to talk about or showcase that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So that's definitely a plus but also like for people who are mainly relying on passive participation in the format, right? People who just like love to listen to podcasts, watch videos, but don't really get to play all that much anymore. I think that's also something that's quite interesting if you have more things going on in the format.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the numbers of coming into the format necessarily. I think a lot of like the newer cards end up not being great and stuff, but I think they're all just a bit too pushed, and I think a lot of people will agree.
Yeah.
Good.
So moving on, we have a question from StarFox444. What are your favorite Magic and or Legacy stories over the past year? So let's do that one first. The second one as well.
I'll start quickly. You gave us a good heads up. Julian yesterday said, this is one of the questions. Have a think about it. I haven't been able to think of anything. I'm sorry. I can't think of something interesting. I'm sorry. So you guys take it away.
Wait, so the favorite Magic and Legacy stories over the past year?
Over the past year, not of all time.
I don't know if that counts as a story, but I started streaming.
That's a big story.
Maybe that counts as a story, but generally I think I'm starting the content creation on Twitch, which is somewhat of a big. It was a big deal for me, at least. Like it's like doing like more of the Magic stuff in public, especially during the pandemic was like what the thing. But in terms of Legacy stories, I think. I don't know. I can definitely say that like last year I had a pretty insane run with Doomsday at least, especially before Modern Horizons 2. But we also had a lot of punts here and there. And obviously we had the big battle between Callum Smith and that's Savatarix. That's Savatarix dude who
that's barely in the last 12 months, but I think it still counts.
Yes, that's my answer.
Yes.
Actually, that was such a weird thing.
We're not gonna talk about the results obviously, but it was good. It was good.
It was great. That was when Painter was like super fringe still. Like, I look back at the list now. I'm like, oh, I don't know about this, but
I still have like the backstory of that, like some Korean high roller is just like all of a sudden sponsoring grudge matches all across Legacy.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, when we went into that, I was like very excited, so like thinking, you know what, if I win 2 matches, I'm really happy, because I'm like, this is a middling to lower tier 2 deck against the best deck in the format, tied with Delve at the time, really. Like Doomsday was. And yeah, well, you gotta go and check out the video, see what the results are.
Yeah, maybe you don't really want to do that, but
I very much recommended it.
Yeah.
Cool. So for me, if I want to have a little bit of, Schadenfreude is, yeah, it is. The interview that the boss of SCG did on Humans of Magic, holy shit, that meltdown. I need to
listen to that. It's good.
You haven't yet?
No,
honestly, I was gonna skip to the meltdown part, but I actually ended up listening to the first, I think, hour or two where he talks about building SCG. And I want to say that was actually even more interesting. Like the meltdown part, you kind of listen to it and you're like, holy shit, is this really happening?
I hate meltdown, but this is the kind of meltdown I can get behind.
Yeah, but the first part where he spoke about building SCG, that was incredible. Like getting to know that, how he was like randomly traveling to events, like buying comics and sometimes buying like artist proofs just because he wanted to support the artists. And then all of a sudden, those artist proofs like times 100 in value or something, and all of a sudden he had all that money on him, and he was like traveling all around the US and buying, selling comics. I'm actually glad that I didn't skip that and didn't like skip straight ahead to the meltdown. So yeah, that was a really interesting story that let me learn a lot of stuff I think I wouldn't otherwise have learned. And yeah, for me personally, I want to say it's the growth of the Energy series, where I've been a commentator for, I can't even tell you, like, has it been a year almost? I don't know. I always felt like, oh, they just like, they got me as this random Legacy dude. So I wasn't sure like how committed they were to like having me and like supporting me as a commentator on their production. But yeah, then at some point they were like, hey, Julian, give me your address. I want to send you your official Energy commentator hoodie or sip thing, whatever. I was like, oh, wow, this is like getting serious. And now when we do it, I'm having such a great time. I even ended up casting more formats than just Legacy the other day, and yeah, this is an amazing production. Everybody's so chill. I get to hang out with Joe Lossett again, whom I had a lot of battles with back then, like on the battlefield, not in real life.
I think your Venser digs have been a bit low, but yeah.
What has been a bit low?
Your digs about Venser has been a bit low.
Oh yeah, I should actually keep that in mind for next time.
Yeah, just bring up Mystic Gate and Venser, please.
Oh, that's but no, yeah, to me, for my personal story, like I've been really enjoying that and being involved with that. And yeah, I'm not sure if it's like the biggest series that's put on right now, but every time like I when I'm done with my commentary shift and I tune in, it's like, oh wow, there's a couple hundred people watching. And I love that. I love that that's a thing, and I love watching that, and I love being involved with that. So yeah, shout outs to the Energy series.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Energy's great.
Yeah.
I've been watching it every single time there's an event on, and it's incredibly professionally done. It's really it's just taking over what SCG, the void they left. It's great.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, next one comes. This is more like a general question. I think this is from Reaple Cheap.
Oh, whoa, okay. Can I stop you there?
Yeah.
Star Fox had a second question that I didn't want to jump
Oh shit.
over.
Okay.
How do you feel about the future of Legacy locally and on Magic Online? Hi.
Diverse. I think Magic locally will be way different than Magic Online. Magic Online will still. I almost don't care how much they will print new stuff or ban things or whatever. There will the percentages on Magic Online will always be a bit off, I think. Because as we talked about in the last episode, like Delver was like criminally high present at the last event, and like a lot of people who play Magic locally, at least here in Berlin, for example, like a lot of people really don't care as much about like online results and things like that. They just only have like one or two decks, and they want to play them, they want to like tech on them. Maybe they only own plateaus and savannas and scrublands, and like that's just like what people do. But I think the future of Legacy on a local level would probably also involve proxies. I'm pretty sure on that, because the biggest entry was basically like those dual lands, right? And if anyone wants to get into Legacy, they should have an easy time, like like an easy entry, like just like us 10 years ago. So that's my take on local Legacy.
Sounds good.
Yeah, for me, I agree that they are quite different. Like, I'm pretty optimistic about both. Legacy Online I just love how accessible it is. You can play, like, the loan programs are great. The things where you can get a token and you can play with any card, come around a couple of times a year as well. They're great as well. It's just an amazing tool to be able to, like, practice the format. As Kai alluded to, like, some of the numbers, it is kind of sometimes cutthroat, especially with the bigger events, but we have an outlet to play very competitively if we want to. And then paper, we still are going to have big events. Like as we talked about, we have this like European Masters thing coming up. We have 4 seasons going on. We have tons of grassroots events like the LLMs I run or the ones in Germany, the Austrian Legacy League and stuff. I do very much agree that proxies are going to be a big part of that, and I hope that they become normalized even more. They're pretty much accepted everywhere, like in paper now, apart from like the bigger events, I guess. But I think people come around to, it's just going to be the future of the format, and I don't think anyone really cares if they're playing against proxies as long as they're nicely done. So yeah, I'm really optimistic about both. It's great.
Yeah, so it sounds like people should order proxies from savatarix.com.
Dude, that's not what I meant, but yeah, please go ahead.
Cool. And yeah, for me, I pretty much agree with what you guys say, right? Magic Online is always going to be like the basic super cutthroat style of events, especially the challenges, where I feel like it's still another step up from just the leagues. And locally, people just like love playing Magic, and I feel like a lot of like locals, they're tangentially aware of like that there's online stuff happening, and they sometimes like check the lists and stuff and are involved, but they're not like, oh, I like every week I gotta stay on top of everything, because that's not the level of attention they pay to their hobby that is Magic.
Yeah.
Like
it
other
also
people
just doesn't
do.
make sense to do that, right? Like if they're keeping up with the Magic Online lists and like tuning their thing that they play at their local to that, the other people aren't. Like it doesn't make any sense. So
like imagine like showing up to a local tournament with like 3 Power Blasts main board, and your local and like your meta game is like, I don't know, like 50% goblins or something, you know.
Or they just go like, okay, fine. Thoughtseize you, him you, cool. yeah.
Interesting. That like they would be looking at your card and like, this guy is stupid. He has main deck Pyroblast.
Right. Like this got everything but those Pyroblasts, you know.
Or like, did you forget Sideward from your last round? Sorry, you can go ahead and do it if you want.
Yeah. To tie it somewhat back to the question about the actual future, I don't think Magic Online is going anywhere. It's probably like still making an insane amount of money for Wizards. So I think that's just like gonna be around for many more years. And yeah, locally even more so, right? I've been playing Magic for like most of you guys for over something like 15, 16 years now. And I've never seen this kind of growth in our local scene ever since like 2008, 2009, when there was like the first big explosion I witnessed. And the last year, basically, tournament participation fueled by proxies has absolutely exploded, and I think it's going to be here to stay and grow even further.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Now, Kai, you can go ahead. Rapper Cheap has been waiting.
So yeah, Reaple Cheap is asking, like, this is more like a general question, I think. Why did you stop playing Legacy over other formats? Are those reasons still true? So, what do you guys think?
Well, for me, it's pretty easy. I wanted to play Enchantress. I went on MTG Celebration and asked people, where can I play Enchantress? People say you can play Enchantress in Legacy. I was like, okay, I'm a Legacy player now, and you can still play Enchantress.
Nice.
That's good. Callum?
Mine was, I never played it like at a high level or anything, but when I was younger, I played Extended and stuff, and I had a ton of favorites there. One of them was actually Blue-Green Enchantress, which I absolutely adored.
Words of Wind, Exploration, Bounce, play another land.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I loved it. Like Cloud of Fairies as well and stuff. Wild Growths, all those things. So I had a ton of favorites then I had a long break, and then I came back just when Innistrad got released, and I definitely like played some Standard and whatever for about a year, and then I started realizing, oh, there's this Legacy thing. So I started going to the local Legacy nights, and we had such a cool supportive scene. There was especially a guy called Stuart Schaum who would lend me decks. He would bring like 5 decks with him, and every single time I didn't even need to call ahead. He was just like, yeah, cool, yeah. He just had everything. So I built Oops as my first deck, actually, or the Spanish Inquisition, I guess. Yeah.
Ooh,
But
damn.
I built it. That was the first deck I built, and it didn't even have a sideboard. So obviously, I just lost every single round every time. I'd win some game ones, but then yeah. But I just liked the nostalgia of these things that I used to enjoy. So like, I just like old cards. And there wasn't like a thing in Legacy that got me into it. And then what got me into like actual good decks in Legacy, because I had like Werewolf Stompy as well. I had some terrible things. Was GP. I'm gonna say Seattle, but I could be wrong. It's
2015.
It was the one where Esper Stoneblade won with Vigianto Vijaya.
Oh, it's, that's 2012. Yeah.
Cool. That one with Jund in the finals. Watching that was just like so much cool back and forth. So I built both Jund and Esper Stoneblade off the back of that, and the rest was history.
That's crazy.
Awesome.
Damn. Wow.
And Kai, how about you? How did you get into Legacy?
Yeah, so I think for me it was also a blue green deck, but it was I had this playset of Vengevines back in the day, and I really wanted to to make them work. And the one outlet was this was like after Survival was banned in Legacy, but I saw that Intuition can kind of do the same thing where you grab 3 copies of Vengevine
Nice.
and like that. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do that, and I already had a couple of Aquamoebas and Asking Root Follows and Wild Mongrels on my desk, right? So I was like, dude, that Legacy is the only outlet for those cards, and yeah.
You can play Madness in
And
Premodern.
and the reasons are not still true. I don't play Vengevines anymore in Legacy. I also don't play any Intuitions and Wild Mongrels and Aquamoebas, but
Maybe you should.
but blue green really like that deck was I tried so hard to make
you
it
got
work,
so
but
far.
yeah, dude. It didn't really matter. Yeah, it was just bad. It was just bad.
Do you remember Chris Anderson playing like Blue Green Vengevine on the SG tour a bunch?
Wasn't he also famous for playing Enchantress?
Yeah, he played elves
Oh.
as well. Like he dabbled in tons of things, but I know he had like Intuition for 3 Vengevines, but like in a Gaia's Cradle based deck and stuff. That was absolutely
Maybe,
awesome
yeah.
as well.
You know, like the one guy who really got me into this Vengevine thingy was Caleb Dervert. And back in 2000, it must have been like 2010 maybe.
He's like
lost the-
he's
yeah, that
mostly
was
responsible for
2010.
banning
In GP, yeah, I think
Survival.
it was GP Columbus, right? Where like I think Tomoharu Saito took it down
Yeah.
with Merfolk, but
He won the
Caleb,
finals against Callum.
it was the semifinals. I
Was
think
it
he
the
played
semifinals?
he
Okay.
played against Tom Martell in the finals. Yeah, like he was playing like a 4-color Supreme Blue whatever Jace control deck.
And I think one of them played against Brian Cook in the quarterfinals, right? I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah, that was Caleb. Yeah, so Caleb beat Brian Cook in the quarterfinals. Just not because of counters, just because like his Vengevines were too fast. Really.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like one of the legendary. I mean, every Legacy GP is legendary, but that was like a very legendary one in the first place.
Yeah, but I saw that I was like, dude, Vengevine is literally the coolest creature ever printed. And I mean, that was Baby Kai, in 2010. So yeah, damn, Legacy, what a cool format.
Yeah, it's the
Definitely.
sickest.
Cool.
Okay, let's go. Oh, next question, Callum maybe or someone
yep.
else.
This is from lovely name Buck Fumas. This one's for you, Kai. What does Julian think about Fiend Artisan and elves?
Yeah, Kai, what does Julian think about Feed Artisan?
What does Julian think about Feed Artisan?
Julian, you can answer it after if you want.
Okay. You know what? I'm actually going to go ahead. The first time I saw this stream where I think Newton even brought it up. My first thought was, is this really the best discard creature we can fiend? What's it called? Fiend Artisan for? And I still haven't looked it up. I guess there's also Brain Maggot, which happens to be an enchantment, so it's probably like slightly worse. But I haven't fully formed an opinion on any of that stuff yet, because I feel like, especially the way Newton constructs elves these days, is very much a work in progress. I feel like every week there's a new, well, he calls it discovery, right? So for example, Fiend Artisan, and then Shriekmaw a couple, more like a month or two back. And then that whole aspect of not only one Fiend Artisan like it was before, but now fully committing to Fiend Artisan, now cutting the glimpses. And I spoke to him actually last week. We were discussing about what else could be cut from the deck, and I suggested Heritage to it, because I feel like with Glimpse Gun, there's even less reason to have Heritage Druid around, because the main reason now for Heritage Druid is to basically like set up like casting Elvish Visionary a couple of times a turn because you have the mana for that. But I felt like Elves is so good at having 3 mana on turn 2. We maybe should actually cut Heritage Druids, like in this build, first of all, in this like mid-range build, for more Llanowar Elves, Mystic, what's it called? Elvish Mystic, Finton Elves and stuff. And I think that's what he did in his most recent build. I think it's on his Patreon, so I'm not going to spoil the entire build. But yeah, this is what we discussed, and I think generally Elves moving in that direction, like going mid-range. I feel like there's gonna be a breaking point at some point, and we haven't reached that one yet, because the more you commit to the mid-range, the more people, other decks in the format, need to understand, okay, this is not the deck that will randomly kill you on the second or even third turn. And the more that knowledge settles in, of course, that more that is gonna hurt those mid-range builds of Elves. But I think a lot of people are slow to adapt, and they still feel like, oh, there's gonna be like you know, sometimes I go, doesn't even matter what I play, I go turn 1 Heritage Druid, which is one of the weaker plays in Elves, and they're like, Force, Pitch, I don't know, Brainstorm. I'm like, this is the best thing that could ever happen to me.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, part of that is, of course, they don't want to get their Force invalidated by Adesaro Shepherd. So yeah, if Fiend Art, like specifically Fiend Artisan, if that's the best discard creature we oh my god, the entire question was about Fiend Artisan, not about the
What are you talking about?
What I was gonna say, what are you talking about?
Okay, guys, what's the one colorless and the black 1/1? When it comes to play, you take a card from your opponent's hand.
What,
Looks really weird.
Fiend?
Mesmeric Fiend. See, this is pretty.
Dude!
But I mean, I was talking about the deck in general, so I guess most of this applies. So yeah,
it made sense up until now.
Yeah.
No. I was like, Mesmeric Fiend was the one that threw me off, because I was thinking, is there nothing else that's like good in that 2 slot for?
When you mentioned Brain Maggot, I was like, what are you talking
about? Yeah. What's the guy talking about? But
so as you said, Kai, what do you think about Fiend Artisans?
So I think people should definitely play more Fiend Artisans if they really want to die to Opposition Agent. That's my take on it.
But the idea is that you use Fiend Artisan to get Opposition Agent, and I think from
shit,
yeah. So from a strategic point of view, it's really tacked out, because you do have Mindbreak traps, which is something, for example, Death and Texas players have always been so resistant to, which they really shouldn't, because they had a good turn 2 play in Thalia. And that's basically the idea in Elves as well. So you have like discard spells in turn 1, you even have potentially Mindbreak Trap, then you land the Fiend Artisan, you bridge the gap until turn 3, and then on turn 3 you can maybe go straight into Opposition Agent, depending what your mana is like, or you find not Fiend Artisan, but
Mesmeric Fiend.
Mesmeric Fiend, thank you.
We did it.
And I mean, it's in that regard, it's tacked out, and you can also find Opposition Agent, which would be another one-off. And then, of course, Fiend Artisan can potentially grow rather big and raise them. So yeah, for me, I think strategically it's very sound. And obviously it's also like putting up numbers right now. I wonder whether there's going to be a turning point where people are really going to address it as the mid-range deck that it is. And, you know, play more, let's say, like even attacking the mana. Like one of the most annoying things when you play the deck is if they could just go Wasteland Go and you can't really activate your Reclaimer because you know your Cradle's gonna come and tapped and get Wastelanded. Whereas you still like see people just like fire off that Wasteland as soon as it's possible on something else. Which
more effective now.
Yeah, it still makes sense, but sometimes it's really worth it to just like try and disable the
I sided in 4 Magus against Elves.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
I mean, there's basically 2 ways to attack these mid-range builds, and one of them is Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon, that kind of stuff, and the other is to have some kind of Opposition Agent effect. We still have don't have a proper name for not allowing searches, right? Shadow of Doubt, whatever.
Yeah, Opposition Agent was when Newton added 1 Fiend Artisan. We were already saying that Opposition Agent is probably the best card against Elves. Like Plague Engineer's days are over in that matchup. It's just bad. Opposition Agent is insane there, and with the upping of 4 artisans, like you do need to respect the size of the artisans. I think it's a really good addition to the deck, and I played a league last week, and it was all pretty strong. It was the Glimpses version. There's obviously pros and cons to both, and Newton's still trying to work that out on the rest of the Elves community. But Fiend Artisan is really good. I liked it in the deck, but it's just very weak to Opposition Agent. So I don't know if they're going to tailor some removal to help with that.
Yeah, something I also noticed is when you play Shriekmaw, you can't Shriekmaw the Opposition Agent. And of course, you also can't do it at instant speed. So there's still some friction. But yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by seeing how or whether decks will even like adjust in the first place, because that's just like the nature of Legacy, right? You can't really adjust your deck just to address a single deck, even though it's one of the more played ones. And I'm curious how this is going to work out. Also, Fiend Artisan growing and being big is sometimes actually relevant for racing purposes.
Mm-hmm. It's just a big beta, right? Like against Delver, their plan is to, what's the end the festivities and bolt your things, kill the Reclaimer, and then Fiend Artisan comes down as like a 2-mana 4/4 or at least, and it's just hard to deal with. So I think as long as Elves keeps putting up numbers and is good against Delver, Delver's going to have to play like 2 submerges at least.
Yeah, submerges is a really big deal. Stifle as well. Yeah. Stifle is just like, you don't want to get your Fiend Artisans or like Reclaimer getting stifled.
Oh yeah, true.
Oof, hell yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Cool. So, moving to the next question. Max Torsion. If I had to pick one of you to visit, who should it be and why? And I have a pretty strong opinion about that.
I have also a pretty strong opinion on
I have a stronger opinion than both of you.
Okay, let the strongest make the call.
None of us? No,
I thought you had a stronger opinion than us.
It should be me. Obviously, it should be me because we've met once before. Had a great time. We went to a cocktail place, and that was so fun. You should come again.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay, interesting.
Get wrecked.
Damn, because I thought Max should definitely go to Julian because Julian lives in Munich, and Munich is like one of the most like German-ish cities ever. Yeah. It's like literally like if there's like one city that sums up Germany in like you just completely that's like Munich to me. Like there's no other city that's more German than Munich. That's
well,
crazy.
At least that's the interesting part to me, because I was gonna say Max should visit you in Berlin, because if he came to me in Munich, that's pretty much how Americans think about like what Germany is like, right? They always have like these stereotypes about people wearing like lederhosen and drinking beer and beer gardens and stuff.
And you have lederhosen on right now, right?
Of course, all the time. Like even when I have a shower, even at night.
but here's the problem. Like Berlin is literally trash city, as I mentioned like 1,000 times on the cast. So like Max will.
You want to broaden your horizon. You want to see the trash.
I mean, he will come here, see all the trash, and then leave already.
No, Americans know about trash. They have it everywhere as well.
But he's from California.
Yeah,
I don't know California. I just know in New York there's tons of trash.
Okay. Yeah, actually, there could be trash in California. I have no idea. I've never been to LA. Yep. But yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
You heard it here first, guys. There might be trash in California.
There might be trash.
No, but seriously, if you come and you go to Berlin, you see the side of Germany that doesn't exist anywhere else in Germany. Because my favorite way to say it that I read somewhere is Berlin is like a giant UFO that's landed on top of Germany. Like it's in the middle of nowhere in Germany. It's like on top of Brandenburg, where there's just like nothing. Shout out to Potsdam.
I feel like Berlin is like the most like embarrassing and colorful part of Germany.
Yeah, and really. I think that's what you want to see, because that really tells you something more about just the idea you have of Germany in your head.
Yeah, it's some wild people here.
So these two can't even agree. So Max, come and visit me. We'll go and get drunk.
That sounds good. Cool.
Okay, cool. Let's go with the next question. Zoomer Storm fan, what is the most buzzing food in Germany? Now, I have
How is this even a question?
How is that even a question? I know that a lot of people who come to at least to Berlin for the first time, they always talk about this like there's like this thing called a curry sausage, currywurst. The first time I had it, I thought it was like the most buzzing food ever, but now I feel like it's exactly the opposite. Because like it's essentially it's like a sausage with some curry sauce on top, and the curry sauce is so flavor intense that it almost doesn't matter what kind of sausage it is underneath.
Doesn't even need to be a sausage. Could just
it doesn't
be
even like maybe it's like a finger or something. I don't know. Like who
just
cares?
Like a pigeon.
It's like a rat or something. Yeah, like a rat person. I don't know, something. But yeah, no, because like back in the day, I thought that's like the coolest thing and about Berlin, but now it's literally the opposite.
I mean, for me, it's straight up just like doner kebab.
Right. Oh, that's the most German-ish food.
Yeah, it's the most famous, most popular German street food.
That's pretty good though. Do they have kebabs in the UK too?
But people have like kebabs like basically all around the world, but I don't know if they have like doner kebab.
They definitely have kebabs here and doner kebabs. I've been vegetarian most of my life, so I'm not really like the biggest expert on where to go.
I mean, you can put anything in it. It doesn't have to be meat.
Yeah, but I haven't really gone to this place as much. But yeah.
But I can definitely agree with Julian though. The kebab sandwiches are pretty gas in Germany. Because the kebab sandwiches in Japan are like literally equal shit. They're so bad, overpriced. They don't even put like cabbage in it. I don't even know what they put in there, but it's not actual food, I think.
Cool.
Next one, shall I take it over? Dukes on Twitch says, what has been each of your favorite legacy metagames and why? Why don't you kick us off, Julian?
Well, this is pretty clear for me. For me, it's late 2011 Legacy when we had the trifecta of Canadian Threshold, Green White Maverick, and Esper Stormblade. People say it's nostalgia. Yeah, but I've been playing Legacy for 5 years at that point, for almost 5 years at that point. So I might as well be nostalgic for previous formats. But no, I'm specifically nostalgic for that period after Dig Through Time, after the Mental Misstep ban, because I felt like this was where I got to play the deepest, most meaningful Magic that I really enjoyed playing Green White Maverick, and to me that's the best metagame I've ever played in.
Kai?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will probably agree with you, Julian. I'm exactly the opposite. Where my favorite Legacy metagame of all time was probably Dig Through Time Legacy. A lot of people hated Dig Through Time. But that, you know, like the only one reason is because that was the absolute best metagame for Ad Nauseam Tendrils I think in the past 20-30 years of of Magic. I think like the Dig Through Time and the Treasure Cruise era of Legacy was the absolute best for Ad Nauseam Tendrils, and which is my all-time favorite deck in Legacy. So
Callum, help us out here. I hope you have something nice.
Yeah, hands down, Snowco. I just loved it. It was just beautiful.
God, guys,
oh my god, dude! Really?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my goodness!
I'm totally joking. It was abysmal. It's the favorite, not the worst. Okay. Snowco was the absolute worst Legacy format I've ever played in my life, bar none.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, best. I'm gonna like have a side thing here where I loved playing with Lurrus and Zerda. But only because it was so short-lived. It was insanely fun for me. Everything was new and fresh. It's like this, what was it, like 3 or 4 months or something of only Magic Online, basically. But I had a great time playing Lurrus. But I think if it was any longer, we would have grown to hate it very fast. But other than that, I gotta be with Kai here, Julian. I'm sorry.
Are you fucking kidding me, guys? What the fuck? Are you guys trying to rewrite history?
So my actual favorite is just all going to be based on like decks I enjoyed at the time. So my actual favorite is whenever Shardless was good. I loved Shardless. I'd get dicked on by Miracles online and stuff, but so it goes. But yeah, Shardless Peak was a big favorite of mine. But I also loved this Grixis Dig Through Time thing. And I think at that point I wasn't quite good enough at Legacy to or I wasn't playing online. Plus I wasn't quite good enough to notice the actual really unhealthy things. I just enjoyed those decks. So I didn't play Omnitel. But I played, I carried on playing Shardless then, but I also played that Grixis Dig Through Time thing.
I like how you're gatekeeping yourself. You're saying, oh, well, I enjoyed this, but I wasn't quite good enough to understand that it was not very enjoyable.
Well,
like, I understand.
Yeah.
You're literally gatekeeping yourself out of this.
No. I don't think I have, because I don't know if the question is framed as, well, it's framed as in what's your favorite, right? So it doesn't have to be healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going to say, that Grixis Dig Through Time deck is one of my favorites I've ever played. Otherwise, the most healthy for a long time was whenever Blue White Stoneblade won when Daniel won that GP Niagara Falls.
Oh, that was a good time too.
Yeah.
You know what? Dukes on Twitch, if you could maybe send the same question maybe in exactly 12 months again, because I bet Callum's gonna say that best Legacy metagame is probably Dread or Arcanist and Oko area.
Okay, so actually, quick, one of our own questions. Out of those 3 cards, Ren 6, Oko, and Dreaded Arcanist, what's your least favorite?
Arcanist.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Arcanist for sure.
Yeah,
definitely Arcanist.
Cool.
I had to give it a thought again,
close.
but yeah.
It's super close. I think Arcanist and Oko are my least favorite cards I've ever played against in Legacy.
Sorry, what was the first one?
Oko and Arcanist.
Yeah, and the first one?
Ren 6.
Oh, definitely Arcanist. By a mile.
Yeah. By a mile, yeah.
Oko is pretty close. Absolutely miserable. Yeah, Arcanist is something else.
Yeah.
Cool.
Albert Lindbergh, Ali on MTGO sends us a question. Quick, fuck, marry, kill. Blue Red Delver, Reanimator, and 4-color Greed Pile.
I'm going to just help you guys out quickly because I've actually researched up his question and he does define it a little bit. He says, kill means sledgehammer ban out of the format. Fuck means play in a challenge and never pick it up again. And marry means only play this deck for the rest of your life.
Okay, for me, it's just like, I'm definitely gonna kill 4-color Greed Pile because that's
I knew it.
absolutely opposed to anything I ever believed in. Marry, for sure, Blue Red Delver because it's basically anything I ever wanted in a deck. It's tempo, it's aggressive, it punishes weakness. And fuck, Reanimator because it just gives you a great time, but you don't want to stick around with it long term.
Yeah, I want to copy paste Julian exactly for the same reasons.
Cool. I'm marrying.
Oh no!
I'm marrying 4-color Greed Pile. I like these.
Yeah,
things.
you won't have a lot of competition. That's going to be easy.
yeah.
I'll marry Kai and I, we're going to be at the wedding. We're like, okay, we're happy that Callum found somebody, but okay.
It's going to be like one of these weird weddings where you're like, Callum, as a friend, I've got to tell you, I'm not sure about this. Like, do it if your heart tells you. I don't know.
This is an intervention.
I mean, it's like the one guy you're gonna invite to the wedding, but he's gonna sit at the last table, you know.
Yeah. So, the other two, like, I don't really mind.
I'd fuck both.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I don't want to kill either. I'd fuck both. I'll marry 4-color Greed Pile and I'll marry. No, the other way around. I'll marry.
Okay.
I'll marry the Greed and I'll fuck the Red Delver and the Animator. There we go.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Next one question is from Peter Plank. Hey, what do you think about Esper Sentinel and Legacy?
Let's go with the first one. So, Esper Sentinel and Legacy. I remember when we had Andrea Mengucci on the podcast in the beginning of the format, he was absolutely flabbergasted that this card doesn't see more play in Legacy. And I kind of agree with him. Like, it's not that I say, hey, people are stupid for not playing it, because then I should be playing it. But I want to say, like, most of the time when I play against it, it's actually quite annoying. But I'm not sure if it justifies the slot. But I think it's one of those cards that, if anything, it's somewhat underrated.
Yeah, I've got some strong-ish opinions on it and some thoughts. I've tried it in quite a lot of things. I've tried it in blue shells. I play like in a kind of blue-white tempo thing with stifles and blah blah. I've played like mono-white painter. I've even tried it a bit in other kind of painter shells, and it's annoying. But it just, for me, it kind of walks into a lot of hate people playing. Again, I know I go on about Meltdown a lot, but like it's such an easy thing to just sweep up with Meltdown. And it's a 1/1. It just dies. It's just soft breezes, and sometimes you have a really good game with it, and it does draw you like 2 cards, and that's amazing for 1-drop. But being a 1/1, it just has no pressure, and you just be like a 2/1, which would be super pushed, obviously. I'm glad it's not. But I had these games where I was playing this kind of like tempo thing, and I'd play it, and I'd like, stifle or wasteland them. But then I'm attacking for 1 for a few turns. So it's kind of like, it's not really a disruption element, because they can ignore it, and they can play around it. So then fine. You need to be playing other things that make them like have to play into its effect.
Ninja of the Deep Hours.
What?
Ninja of the Deep Hours. I was just thinking, like, if you have this 1-drop that doesn't really contribute a lot by just attacking, you need to add something that supplements the attacking, like like an equipment or Ninja of the Deep Hours.
Interesting.
Okay.
I was going to say Murktide is something that puts them under pressure.
Sure. Like
nuclear bombs are great with machine guns.
Yeah.
I mean, Murktide fixes any deck, I guess. But
yeah.
I was thinking about like Esper Sentinel. I think it is unfortunate that it's a human soldier in white, because if that was like a blue 1-mana 1/1 Merfolk, for example, it could have been like quite a staple with like Lord of Atlantis and other lords. But there is no lord for human soldier. I think like not a good one, at least.
There's one coming up for like infinite mana.
Right, but if there was like something like a good Ether Vial Lord deck for Esper Sentinel, I think that'd be something sweet. But as for now, it just doesn't really fit anything.
Yeah, it's a strong card. Just for me, the effect is very, very strong, but the body is so small and lackluster. That's what lets it down for me. I do agree it's underrated, like, and it's maybe a bit underplayed, but it's, as you said, it doesn't have a home, and it's not strong enough to make a home for, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like it almost doesn't count as a creature, right?
Poor Esper Sentinel.
It's probably like the rudest thing you can say to a creature. It's like you almost don't count as a creature.
Yeah.
But
actually, it's a 4 in hammer. It's fantastic there because you put a hammer on it and it's an 11/11, so you will be drawing cards off it.
I guess, but then you already win the game because you have a freaking, I don't know, 11-11, right?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
It's like, you might have like a Mother of Runes you're playing against or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we can sum it up. Like Esper Sentinel, probably cool effect, but the body is just not. Like there's something missing.
Because I know Peter's been playing it he plays red white painter, so it's working there.
I like that pause of like contempt.
No. I'm trying to get. I just feel like his version is super cool. It's very grindy. He plays experimental synthesizers, which is also cool because it's like low to the ground, so you can find the Sentinel off it. Like you want to have like 4 Lurs pedals, 4 Mox Opals when you're playing synthesizer decks because you just want like tons of artifacts to place to the board and get things to play off it. But in my opinion, that kind of build is probably more powerful than like what I play. Like more fast mana is really good, but I feel like, dude, you haven't played against enough meltdowns.
Right.
I've played tons of 4 Mox Opal Painter and LEDs and whatever. You just get destroyed by the hate people play. It's really brutal. So
right.
Okay.
So Peter also has a second question. So what do you think about the sentiment that Legacy changed into a jam format with protection after being called a very strategic, low-paced format? So now this question is really interesting because I think that's
somewhat leading.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like if they have like a general like complaint about Legacy is because that is pretty much true.
I don't think so.
But I got like a more of a meta thought about it. For example, just because it might be the right thing to tap out, say more often than in the past, that doesn't take away from the strategy at all. Like strategy doesn't have anything to do with whether you tap out a lot or not. Strategy is about whether it makes sense in this position to tap out or not. In the long run. Just because you tap out doesn't mean, the strategy goes out the window. Like formats where you tap out more often can still be like super strategic because sometimes you don't tap out. Like if you literally brain deadly try to spend all of your mana every single turn just because that's what the format rewards, I would agree. But I mean, that's not Legacy.
No, if you try and spend all your mana every turn in this format, you'll get absolutely destroyed. It's not how Legacy plays right now. Delver being the biggest deck Delver is the most interactive deck, arguably. Like you are playing around removal and counter magic. It depends on the matchup, of course, but like you are still working out if you can play around days or not. You are like, sometimes they play a Murktide and just force your removal spell, but like that was true of so many threats in the past as well. It's not a new thing. Like if they're doing that with a Tarmogoyf 10 years ago, that's still the same thing that's happening to you. So I don't agree with the sentiment.
Yeah, right. I would also say, like, you mentioned Shardless Bug earlier, right? That was a deck that usually tapped out quite a lot, and still was part of some of the best metagames we had in Magic.
Yeah, it was like, just that deck gave you weird decisions, like you would turn to fetch and then brainstorm end of their turn and stuff to set up cascades and just like weird things. Right. And I think decks these days still do have tons of interaction points and
Totally. Also, I look at I keep making fun of Jeskai Control again, but like look at Jeskai Control. It doesn't tap out until turn 3,
and then it goes,
and then it taps out and then it terribly taps out from there. So yeah. Gotta say like the threats got a little better than 10 years ago, but I think Legacy still. I would probably just. I don't know. Like I think that the reason why Legacy still are so interesting is because there are a lot of like free spells and things like that.
Yeah. I think what we're going at is if there was a jam format, that's if ban got dazed, if Daze got banned, that's when jam format would actually become a thing, and it'd be horrible.
Yeah. Also, let's take a deck like Painter, right? You might even tap out on quite a lot of turns, but there's usually like tons of micro decisions that goes into that. So you might spend all your mana on certain turns, but you still like did it for 3 or 4 different things.
Painter
and at every single step, your opponent might, have something to do, and you have to account for that in the way you sequence stuff. So there's a lot. I mean, sequencing especially is more about tactics than strategy, but I would agree that Legacy still has a ton of tactics and strategy going into it, which is like why so many people enjoy it.
I would argue that sequencing is the most important thing in the format.
Yeah, like doesn't like Ursa Saga, isn't that like the best example for like just like not doing something sometimes,
Yeah.
Dude, I feel so stupid. Like I remember when I started playing Ursa Saga for the first time, I would always play it, but like I couldn't activate it.
Painter is actually the most interesting Saga deck, I'll say by far, because you very often have hands with 3 lands. One of them can be a soul land as well, but depending on the rest of the the hand, or if you know the matchup, it is correct to play it turn 1 or turn 2 or turn 3. Very, very often, I'll have like 2 mountains and a saga, and that leads you to think like, oh, so you probably go mountain turn 1, saga turn 2, then mountain turn 3, so you can side it. But like if you have something to play on turn 3, like a Fable or a Brazen Apprentice, you're playing saga turn 3 because then you are playing your curve into the saga, which saga activation comes to turn 4. But if you're playing against if you know it's a combo matchup, you're probably playing at turn 1. Or if I'm playing against Doomsday, for example, I'm playing saga turn 1 because it means I get grindstone and play like 2 turns earlier. It's yes, sequencing, especially with this kind of thing, will win and lose you games, and that's it's
cool.
Very interesting. All right, next one. Shall I take this over? I'll go the man with one boot. What happened to your second boot? That's a question for you. What's a deck you think everyone should pilot at some point to better understand the format?
I think at least 2 of us will certainly agree.
Anything with Brainstorm Ponder.
I think Delver, easy.
Delver, yeah.
I was gonna say play Delver. If you play Delver for a while, even if you think you're gonna suck with it, you're like the way you suck with Delver if you first play it. That's like when you first start working out and you get like sore muscles and everything hurts and like you feel bad. But that's literally how you break the shell, and that's how you become a better player.
I think like Delver but also like a Stoneforge Mystic Umezawa Jite deck, I think.
We're not trying to make you lose too much.
I mean,
says the Doomsday player. Oh, play Jitter.
Yeah, just do that, and don't even worry about Doomsday, okay?
I see.
No, seriously though, like people should seriously get better at combat in Legacy. I already suck at combat, but I've seen a lot of wonky attacks and blocks in Legacy, so, in both paper and online. So, yeah, that's something you can definitely get an edge.
Yeah. But
cool.
Delver teaches you flying combat. But yeah. No, yeah. I think Delver's the deck I recommend to everyone that asks me like where to start in the format, unless they have a strong opinion on what they think they'll like. It's Delver all the way through. It teaches you.
By the way, I think like you saw a lot of games where like people like missed attacks and blocks during Young Pyromancer plus tokens against Deathrite Shamans kind of Legacy, you know what I mean? Like am I supposed to attack with like 3 tokens or like 5 or 10, or you know when am I supposed to like double block, blah blah blah, like those times.
True.
Yeah. And something I want to add to that, because when I started playing Legacy, I think I subconsciously ruled out certain decks, like for example, most famously Canadian Threshold, because in my head, Canadian Threshold was for the good players. And that was I don't know if it's the stupidest thing I could have thought, but I think it would have certainly helped way, way, way more than anything else I ever played back then, if I had picked up a deck like that earlier. And I was maybe even like consciously, not only subconsciously, in a position where I felt like, oh, I really can't play these tempo blue decks because those are for the good players, and I would just embarrass myself. Like, yeah, guess what? Like, once I started playing those and I got a little bit more advanced on those, and I started watching what I thought were the good players, I was like, yeah, they are actually shit. Or not shit, but you get the idea, right? They're not those gods in blue that you think they are.
But it's also like the question is, what should you do to help you understand the format? And it is losing and then winning with Delver, really.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Next question coming to us from Oliver Lux. What do you think about Reanimator in paper? I don't know why we're specifically talking about Reanimator in paper, but here we are. Callum.
I think I'm gonna like guess a few things here, like how it's placed in paper. It's hard to actually answer that one, because it depends where you're playing. Like if you're playing your local game store, like your weekly thing, and then you're gonna know if they play sideboard hate or not. Like the decks, if you're not playing against any sideboard hate or good sideboard hate, you're gonna wreck face, right? The deck is just designed to do that. So yeah, if you're playing like a kind of a 50-ish person tournament, I think Reanimator is a really good deck. It has kind of online, like with the data we have that we're going off, it has a kind of lowish win rate, but it does spike big events very often. The raw power of the deck is so good, it can just beat anything if you draw well. And I feel like in paper, people, if you're very good with Reanimator, you'll probably beat most hate people play in paper as well. But in paper, you'll also just run into people playing like Leyline's main deck in kind of like Helm of Obedience decks and the Douthly Voidwalker people love and stuff. And you'll just play against random stuff in paper as well. So it's harder to anticipate the hate. Rather than like online, if you're playing Reanimator, you can be like, you play against Blue Zenith, and then you look up the last challenge that was won by it, and you can guess what the side would hate to expect is. But in paper, it's just a bit more of a crapshoot. It's a super powerful deck, but you'll probably have some tournaments where you get absolutely destroyed, and some where you absolutely destroy people. It's a bit more swingy, I think, is my guess.
Okay. I have a pretty short answer. I think it's a solid deck in online. It's a pretty crappy deck in paper because everyone's gonna remember your face and as the Reanimator guy. I think like Reanimator in comparison to let's say something like Sneak and Show or Storm, or maybe not Storm as much, but like Sneak and Show or maybe Doomsday. Like Reanimator is very easy to hate because counter magic is good and graveyard hate is good. So a lot of people will probably keep their turn 1 Reclaimer for turn 2 Bojuka Bok kind of hands, just more often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially like in these smaller like 3-4 round tournaments at like your local GameStar or whatever. And and on top of that, people might even like adjust their sideboards. Like you see who's attending those tournaments, and before you submit, like it's a very common thing, right? It's like 3 more Fairy Mark up, got it.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's a very good point.
It's super easy to hate.
Yeah, I also kind of feel like if you're playing Reanimator constantly at your store, it might get a bit boring. There are people that really like their deck, so I'm not making too much fun of it, but it's not the most fun deck to play against as well. So you might get like comments from people being, "Oh, you again."
Okay, cool.
Okay, next question is from Marcus Ewald. Most fun legacy matchups and why? Most fun legacy matchups.
So for me, one of the most also, like if I had to put together like a gauntlet of, hey, what is good Magic, I would put something like post top ban Miracles against Elves back then, because I felt like that was such a cool matchup from both sides, because both, like I think Elves was even like advantaged, but only so much at that point, and it made for really, really good Magic and understanding like timing and sequencing and so many things, playing against mass removal versus trying to not like we say fade away against Salt Snapcaster Swords. And I really, really loved that matchup. Other than that, I also really loved playing Green-White Maverick back like in 2011 against basically every deck, including like the broken combo decks, because you had so much more game against most combo decks except Doomsday, because that was just like wreck you back then, because the combo decks were just like so much worse. Like you if you haven't played back then, like pre-Grizzlebrand combo decks were a lot more of a crapshoot outside of like, I want to say like Doomsday, maybe Epic Storm and ANT.
Okay.
Kai?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. You can literally say anything about like between burn mirrors or Omnitel mirrors maybe. I think Omnitel mirrors back in Dick Through Time era were quite boring to watch, except the one game on camera.
I know the one you mean. It's insane.
The one between Shota Yasooka and
streamed it actually, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. That was a crazy moment when you saw like Emrakul blocking.
Oh.
Yeah, Emrakul blocking another Emrakul.
Yes. With the through the breach. Oh my god. And then like only having Omnitel in play. Julian, link this in the show notes at the end. This is one of the best.
Let me put a note here.
Legacy.
I think that was like probably like the most fun game to watch in all of paper coverage, I want to say.
By the way, as we're talking about that, I think there's also a really, really good match between Thomas Enevoldsen playing against Christoph something. I don't remember his name. Schranner or something at GP Strasbourg 2013.
Surviving those Emrakul attacks.
Yeah. It might have actually been 2 Emrakul attacks that he survived in the semi-finals or quarterfinals.
Yeah, so maybe Marcus, like it's always something with Emrakul. It's always something with Emrakul. It's like always like Emrakul attacks and and something happens. Those type of games.
It was also a really good match at SCG Richmond 2014 in the finals between Joe Lossett and Marc König playing Death and Taxes against Top Miracles.
Oh yeah, the viling in the Thalia.
Yeah, Viling in the Thalia in response to the Miracles trigger and everything. This was one of the highest level matches I've ever seen. And the beauty of it, I was standing behind Marc and watching, and the beauty of it, like we had the entire crew there. And the beauty of it was that for every single thing that happened, both players were so much in the know and understood the matchup and everything that I think they could have almost like played it blindly because they knew what the other guy was going to do if they were going to do something. And it was like, actually, I'm going to link that too. It must be somewhere. Marc versus
Cool.
Joe.
So I think the Marcus asked about like most fun matchups, not matches.
Yeah.
So I love current Painter versus Lands. It's highly interactive. Megas kind of puts up like a hammer in the sideboard games, but especially game ones, like it can go either way. It's very technical. There's like both of you are sagaing and grabbing Pithing Needle they are, and they're going after your lands, and you're using the goblins, and you can use the goblins on their like Mox Diamonds and artifacts and stuff. It's super technical. So that's my vote for current. Old ones, I used to love playing Shardless against Delver. It always felt quite close but favored.
I'm just happy you didn't say Shardless against Miracles.
No, that was too hard. Well, Shardless before they added Predict was like really easy, and then they added Predict, and it turned into like the hardest matchup you could imagine. Predict was like swung the matchup so much they would just let Liliana resolve and like, yep, tick up. Oh, you're empty-handed? Now I'm just gonna like predict, entreat you. It was
Damn.
By the way, another matchup I want to shout out is from 2000. Was it 10? 10, 11 or something when Mental Mischief was allowed. Norak versus Bug Control. That was Norak was the deck I played back then. The only deck in Legacy that ever pulled off 4 Vendilion Click and lived to tell the tale. That was such an amazing deck. That deck also taught me so much. It basically played 4 Noble Hierarch, 4 Vendilion Click. I want to say 3 natural orders for progenitors and stuff, like one of Rock Swarmonk that you would rarely natural order for, like, and all the cantrips, Force of Worlds, Lightning Bolts, and Sylvan Library. And I had so many amazing games with that deck in that format. There was a limited amount of decks that you could actually play back then, and Bug Control was one of them. And properly like playing out that matchup, because it was also incredibly interactive, was a real joy to do. And for, yes, Mental Mischief was banned. That's overall, I'm on the side of that was good, but I can't say I didn't enjoy the Mental Mischief metagame.
You know what was also sick was Lurrus Miracles versus Lurrus Jeskai Delver. That was also crazy.
All those stupid cards made for so much good magic, right?
It was like obviously nothing over 2 mana, so it was all like very spell based. Obviously, Lurrus is like a hammer, but Lurrus would just get exiled by Sword Splash from both decks. So the way JPA found the winning strategy was Sidon Tormod's Crypt and Force of Negations, counter like the 1 of Entreat, and then exile it with Crypt in response to like Mystic Sanctuaries, and then he would deck them. And it worked almost every time, apparently. So
that's insane.
That's like high level strategy.
What a recipe.
Yeah. So there's cool stuff out there. Next one. This is from D Aggressive B. This is another question for Kai. Who are the other 22 Julians?
Dude, I don't even know. Like, I seriously don't know. Why is it Julian 23, by the way?
Yeah, you want to know about that? That's actually but I think some people
There's a post on the source, right?
No, it's, I mean that's because you have to pick a number, right?
Oh my god, no, yeah, that post on the source. There's a thread on the source that's like introduce yourself. And I introduced myself, and I tried to write the most hilarious, crazy, stupid story that nobody would ever believe.
But everyone believed it.
Yeah, I wrote it at work. I mean, that's why it's so long. But it's the stupidest story that I grew up in Somalia, and I took place in a fishing contest, and there was a guy, Julian, and he would always do 23 of things, and he would I don't know, have 23 girlfriends. I don't even remember. And it's at some fishing tournament, he caught 23 fish, where everybody else caught like 2 or 3. And it was the most stupid story that nobody would ever believe. And then I remember I went to a tournament. And by the way, part of that story is that my real name is Frank, allegedly. And I just when I left Somalia, I took on that guy's name, Julian, because he was so impressive to me. And then just randomly, Rodrigo Togoros looks over to me and tells me in German, he speaks German, it's so weird that your real name is Frank. And I just look at him and I realize he actually took that story for real.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know where to start, dude. But yeah, that's a total side stuff. The 23 just comes from, there's a German movie, 23. Not the American one with Jim Carrey. I've never watched that. But there's a German movie came out in the 90s about, backstories, Illuminati, conspiracy, but that's not like the real thing. The backstory is about hacking in the 80s. And about a real German hacker who hacked for, I don't even know, I don't remember, like Russia or something, like some Soviet, whatever. He was basically a spy. And it's a real story, by the way. And that movie grew an absolute fascination for me with like hacking and computer technology and everything. And yeah, the name of the movie was 23 because you know about the conspiracies with like 23 and yada yada. So I just like added that to my name because I thought it's like, oh my god, it's so cool. And yeah, back then I remember my best friend and we went to the website of the Chaos Computer Club, and they had a tutorial how to become a hacker. that must have been like 7th grade or something. And we printed that out and we shared it. And the first step was you have to learn to program. So we went to our school's programming course, like us and like 2 other guys and a math teacher. And then we learned to program in, I think it was Pascal, if anybody listening to this knows what Pascal is. And from there, we had a step up to Delphi. And on the side, we taught ourselves QBasic. And then we wrote programs and text adventures and stuff. And I wrote like an early version of GTA. Like I wrote like a crime simulator, but without the graphics of GTA. It was like really shitty. And yeah, then it sounds weird, but I always like try to sum it up. Then I discovered girls, and then all of a sudden I wasn't that interested in becoming a hacker. Also,
Girls
I
love
walked.
hackers, right?
Yeah, at least in some movies. And but the thing is, I also like another thing that contributed to me not pursuing that anymore was my best friend and I. After we had like learned Delphi, we asked our teacher, okay, what's the next step up from Delphi? And he mentioned C or C++, but probably C. And so we went into Schillerstraße in München, which is like where all the table dance and computer shops are. So we walk into the computer shop and we literally ask the guy for C, and he takes it off the shelf or whatever, and he quotes, okay, it's like 900 Deutsche Mark. Like, what? Like a computer game is like 80. How is this piece of software like almost 1,000? And he's like, yeah, that's what it costs. And then we're like, this is ridiculous. This doesn't even make sense. Yeah. And then we left again. And that's how my programming career died, I guess. So yeah, this is why it does a 23.
Okay.
The second question. When selecting a deck for paper play, do you give any consideration to whether you get to use sweet old cards or special printings of basic lands?
Yes.
Yes.
For basic lands, very much.
Yeah.
And I also try to basically, except for Brainstorm, I want to say, I always try to play the first printing of any card.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't push me so far that I would say, oh, I will play this deck because it's going to allow me to play this card. Except for, like, I don't know, if Survival ever became legal and I can play Recurring Nightmare and Survival again. Oh, I would play that deck even if it wasn't, like, the best.
Yeah.
But it's not that it actually pushes me into decks I otherwise wouldn't want to play.
Yeah. So
right.
I think the question is really, like, actually, I don't choose to play any cards over something I think is better because it's like a sweet old card. But when I get to use like old border cards or nice basic lands, I absolutely will. And yeah, deck aesthetics is a big thing in Legacy, I think, and it's part of what I love about the format.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was this one infamous top 8 deck list, Legacy GB top 8 deck list with like only 3 polluted deltas in the storm list. It must have been like a crazy, probably like a crazy whatever dude, you know.
Yeah.
Don't even care. But
some confused German-Japanese dude.
That was pretty much because there were only 3 foil polluted deltas. Yeah, dude.
That's
and like
it's a fashion statement.
Like it was not even like I couldn't even. There was I saw that 4th polluted delta in foil in one of the booths. It was just too expensive, you know. And I had this like crappy flooded strand. It was pretty damaged. But man,
but it was foil.
It was foil. So yeah, welcome to the team.
Okay, cool. Next question. Barney is a dog is asking, who is the better Magic player, and why is it Julian? Yeah, actually, why is it Julian?
Yeah, why is it Julian?
This is the hardest question I've ever been asked.
Is it like the best Magic player between the 3 of us or something? Or how do I understand it?
Well, it's
or the better Magic
Kai,
player in the world? It's not Kai? Okay, we gotta figure this out.
I mean, it's that dude. But seriously though, I think that if this was like 2013, I would have definitely said it was Julian because of that Bazaar of Marcs and.
Mm-hmm. Dude, is this a compliment or is this the opposite?
But seriously though, because like I think like in 2013, it was the biggest gap between your you're in my how to say like play
Proficiency in the
like skill level maybe in Legacy, because like you were really way up there, and I was like the scrappy. I just got into Legacy, played my first Storm deck. It's the Epic Storm. I really don't know what I'm doing kind of person. I felt like there was like such a big gap back then, but now I kind of want to directly challenge you again and see how
you guys should do it. Maybe. Actually, the only way we can sort this out is our EDH game of kind.
Who's the best EDH player?
Commander, yeah, I was gonna say.
We'll find out who the best really is. Or maybe if we get a Legacy Premier League again, we can see who does better.
Actually, this directly feeds into the next question, right?
Oh shit, yeah. The next one is from of Elks and Oko. If the hosts were to play each other but use the other player's deck, who would be victorious and prove to be the more advanced Magic mind? Now, this one is really interesting because I don't think I as I said earlier, I think like an hour or 2 hours ago, I said that I've never activated a grindstone in my life. Now, I still don't really know how to do it.
You tap 3 mana and you activate it.
It's like you gotta pick a target.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta pick a target first.
You choose yourself.
Yeah, but then I also have to tap those lands. I don't know, does it go like left or right again? That's so confusing.
Just exile some Seeming Spirit Guides. Be the real ape.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, for me, I want to say like I feel reasonably comfortable playing Painter, having played it quite a bit ever since like Callum started like teaching us about it. Doomsday is the one deck like I've always been saying for the better part of my quote unquote career that I feel comfortable with pretty much any Legacy deck except for Goblins, which I've never really played. But Doomsday is, I guess, the second exception. I think I've played the Epic Storm. I've played Ad Nauseam Tendrils, both of them quite a bit. But Doomsday is the one deck, like, I guess I could piece together some standard piles and do okay, but I don't feel comfortable playing it, especially not in the face of hate.
Mm-hmm. I feel fairly confident with both.
Okay, we solved it. Yeah. Callum's the most advanced Magic mind.
Damn.
Doomsday, like, I've played the least, and I'm not great with Doomsday and Ant, but I could definitely do it. And you just put that.
Well, this is not about whether you can do it. I can also do it.
Well, I mean, like, no, against people like you.
I mean, like, dude, like anyone can tap 3 underground seas. Yes,
yeah.
You know, Callum is the guy. Like we're like a team in some kind of like stressful situation. Callum's gonna step forward and be like, "Oh yeah, I can do this." And like once he starts doing it, okay, Callum, how many times have you actually done this? Like,
yeah.
Well, it's gonna be about the first time now. Like, okay.
There's an amazing I've got an image or a screenshot of when Thassa's Oracle just came out and Ethan Formicello was doing really well at the beginning. I was trying it out a bunch, and I got this perfect picture of me having a tome on kill. I went through the process, and then it was when Predict and then Unearth was the kill. I named Island, but I was actually playing a snow-covered island.
So, oh no! Oh no!
And obviously, I got Wasteland and lost. So yeah, I'm 100% that person who's like, yeah, I could do it. It's easy, and then rock up and it's like, guys, what do I do?
Cool. Yeah, I guess we got the last question coming up now.
Yeah. This from Jace Alpha. What is the strangest place you've played a game of Magic?
In a bus. Yep, that was 9-year-old Kai in a school bus. Played Magic with his friends because we didn't have really a lot of time, and like the bus ride was about like 30 minutes, and usually I spend like most of my bus rides like doing homework, like like last minute homework, but
like sideboard maps and stuff.
Yeah, but some days, dude, I did like back in the day I didn't even know what a sideboard was.
Yeah.
So dude, we played like I don't know, like 53 card decks against each other, and
like back in the day I had like a 150 card mono black deck with Nightmare and like 10 Hand of Deaths. It was the sickest. Definitely.
There's so many swamps.
Yeah, so many. Mine's also gonna be from my childhood. Like I remember playing when I first got Magic the first time. I got Portal stuff and played on like the beaches in Devon and like in sheds and everything all over the place. We just had some random decks and we'd play everywhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for me it's pretty easy. It's Belgium.
Belgium's the weirdest place.
It's the strangest place. You just name a country.
I don't get to name. Okay, if I don't get to name a country, But the strangest place, I've played poker as a church, but I guess that doesn't count. The strangest place I've watched somebody play Magic was on a plane to the US, playing across the aisle. Just like, that's some proper addiction, I guess. But the strangest place I've played would be in the very top of a tower of a cathedral in Bristol, England. It was in 8th grade. We did a student exchange to Bristol Cathedral School. And my friend and I, we met on the top of the tower because that's like where some of the players sometimes, because all the English guys there also played Magic. It was kind of funny. Like we developed the local scene at the same time that they did. And then like the two worlds clashed when the student exchange happened. And yeah, we played and really like almost like in a, you got to look it up, Bristol Cathedral School. I don't know if it still exists. It should, I guess. The very top of the tower. And at some point, I remember one of the English guys, he came running up the tower. They were like, what are you guys doing here? And we're like playing Magic. He's like, you're supposed to be in class. And we're like, oh, okay. Apparently, they had been looking for us all over the well.
I thought this is class. What?
Yeah, we're learning about Thorn Elemental attacking, right? That's how you do it.
Thorn Elemental was completely unbeatable. Dude. What were they thinking with that card?
Yeah, like that whole trip was crazy. We played like 8-player multiplayer games. They never finished.
Oh, I definitely did that. Like, went to a friend's and there was like a 10-person thing. You just like go for lunch for an hour while it's coming back around to you.
Here we go again.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, this, I guess, concludes our mailbag episode. It might actually have been the first one we ever did. This is literally the longest episode we ever did, I'm pretty sure. 2 hours and 40.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. So again, as Kai like joined the cast, and he's like, general questions like, how long do they usually go? We're like an hour to an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
So
we will see.
Not a single one under 2 hours so far, I think.
Yeah, is it really? Okay, maybe we're going to try to aim more for 1.5 hours, but we will see. So, yeah, with that, guys, was my pleasure. Was a great time hanging out with you. I'm not looking forward to editing this behemoth, but I think this is pretty smooth sailing here. You guys, people listening, if you want to support Everyday Channel, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Really helps us out, but also helps out other people discovering the podcast when they want to find out more about Legacy. And if you want to join the Discord, if you want to support the podcast, you can do so on patreon.com/everydayeternal. With that, if you want to follow us, you can find us on @EternalMTG on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on itsjulian23 on Twitter and itsjulian on Twitch. Callum, where can people find you?
I'm at Callum Smith MTG on Twitch and Twitter.
Okay, and I'm Sawatarix on all social media platforms and my homepage, sawatarix.com.
Oh, I'm so envious every single time. Maybe I need to go back to Marc My Lord 2000. I think that should still be available everywhere.
Easy.
By the way, Bob Wang actually thought I was literally changing my nickname. I love that so much. He was like actually giving me that talk about how this is like an established brand and I should. What is that Marc My Lord 2000 crap? I love that. So yeah, shout outs to everybody who's listening, who's supporting the podcast, especially on Eternal Witness tier. Tommy Hinks, Testacular, Sebastian Hollager, Guillaume, Hanawar Elf, Sean Dewey, Francis Cooper, and Severin Schwarzhuber. And on Grizzlebrand tier, Victor Bernards, Bachubat, Scott Monroe, Jeremy Gates, Henrik Kokutz, Tom Happ, Andrew Whitman, and Paragon Games in St. Louis. Everybody have a good end of summer, good start into autumn, and see you again for the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you, everyone.